Okay, peoples, okay, peoples, okay, peoples. We're back again with the first episode of the XBR podcast. And what we're going to talk about in this very first pilot episode is the Xbox XO event that was announced by Phil Spencer. We're going to talk about the Forza Horizon 4 reception so far. Xbox still having a paywall for its free-to-play games, and Minecraft PC only announced hot off the presses. What? But before we go too deep into that, let me introduce to you all my illustrious co-hosts, the one, the only, the Nethos. What's going on, Nethos?
What's going on, people? I'm glad we finally get this show going because me and MM2K have been talking behind the scenes for months now. I remember our boy Dirt Griggity over there was calling us a bipolar Xbox. But I want to make sure, and we're going to talk about this during the show after I had a little segment here, but me and MM2K, even though it's hard to believe lately, are indeed Xbox fanboys. We are indeed a big fan of the Xbox brand, even though it doesn't sound like that. Even though you hear us hate a lot of the time recently, we're not doing it out of pure hate. We're doing it out of love, believe it or not. Because at the end of the day, we may be Xbox fanboys. We may be fans of the brand, but we are not apologists. We are not here to damage control, and we are not here to be hypocrites. That's not who me and MM2K are. We're here for our brand to get better. We're here to set things straight, and we're here to try to make Xbox the best place to play because that's what it should be.
With that being said, Nethos, and you hit the nail right on the head. I know I've said some stuff. I know I've said some mean things, you know, the coffee shop film, all this stuff. All that stuff goes out the window. Because legitimately, we want to provide a platform that even the Xbox brass out in Redmond, they can look at and they can take some notes from. Because sometimes people are in silos, you know what I mean? Nethos, like they're trapped in a box. And sometimes they're veered to the people that are only going rah, 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 or the extremists that are saying, we hate Xbox, we hate Xbox. You need 50 Horizon Zero Dawns or forget about it. No. The truth to the matter is actually in the middle, and we want to provide that middle by actually exposing Redmond, everybody, the whole listening public, to the true hardcore demographic within the Xbox community. And we're going to do that by running this podcast, and we hope to do great things. And we will do great things. This is the pilot episode, but we got a lot of cool features and cool ways to interact with the community waiting to be deployed, okay? And with that being said as well, you want more? Hook up to that Patreon, because a lot of this stuff is going to happen there. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But again, this is a platform for Xbox fans who feel like they're trapped in the middle of those that just have nothing but hate for the system and those that just love that wood buff 24/7. This is a no wood buff zone. But we are Xbox enthusiasts, and we want the brand to do better. And this is that platform where we will have those real, honest, and truthful discussions to help that come to fruition. But before we go any further, we're going to talk about why Nethos and I individually were motivated into doing this show for you guys. But before we get too deep into that, Nethos, can you just talk about your gaming week? And I'll do the same thing. While you're doing that, I'm going to tweet this all out to everybody.
I've been saying this on the last few shows, but I'll say it again. My gaming week has been playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. Yes, an old-ass game, because the new Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, is out. I see all these screenshots. This game's looking beautiful in all these screenshots, and I'm like, man, I really want to enjoy that. So by seeing that, I'm like, I need to play the first two games. So I'll be the definitive edition about last week, and I'm playing through Rise of the Tomb Raider now, which I'm still in the very beginning of. But I will say, even though Tomb Raider gets compared to Uncharted all the time because it's fair to do so, they're very inspired from each other. I will say, even though Rise of the Tomb Raider does not look as good as Uncharted 4, its 60 FPS mode is phenomenal. Uncharted 4 is a very smooth game, but at the end of the day, that 30 FPS cannot compare to 60 FPS. And I'm not saying Rise of the Tomb Raider is better yet. I haven't really played it much, but it is a smooth experience, and it is a thrill so far.
Excellent. I'm going to be honest. I'm guilty as an Xbox enthusiast. I'm not a big race car guy, but man, the enthusiasm and the exuberance And I can use all types of dictionary words to describe the reaction that people have to the Forza Horizon 4. It's amazing. And I'm not, again, I haven't played a racing game since RC Pro-Am. I'm telling my age. It's an old Nintendo game.
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's like that's how shallow I am. With that being said, I am going to try because it's going to be on Game Pass, which again, this is not a platform where we're like, Xbox, we hate you. Oh, everything is horrible. No, having access to this game, right, Nethos, on Xbox Game Pass is a phenomenal deal, right?
It is.
So I'm going to give it a try. Everyone's sending out screenshots and game shares and all other stuff and the equivalent, and it looks great. So as far as my gaming week, for those of you that know, I've lost a bet that I created this fiasco myself, and I have to finish another game on another platform. And that might not happen until 2020. But until I do that, I have been banned from Xbox, and it's killing me. And I did this to myself, so I got to hurry up and finish this game. However, I've been in the light of Xbox, Nethos, I've been trying this feature, the Steam Link feature, right? I was just playing Metro Last Light again this morning on my phone.
Wow, on your phone,
dude? It's an in-network. It's not an out-of-network, but it's an in-network feature that allows you to stream your PC games off of Steam to anywhere in your house that has Android capabilities, right? So I've originally been testing it on my Fire TV, and it's like, mwah, perfecto. You know what I'm saying? It's wonderful. So I started playing it on my phone today, and damn, it looks gorgeous. Like Metro Last Light. This isn't even the Redux. This is regular Metro Last Light on a, for full disclosure, on a Motorola E-Super phone, which is not like a top-of-the-line phone. It looks freaking marvelous. And the latency, there's no latency. It's like all real time. So with that being said, it makes me wonder that if Microsoft can mimic this in their Scarlet approach with the streaming service and how they're trying to hit the 2 billion tablets and phones and computers out there, if they can mimic that type of super low latency anywhere, right? They're on to something big. Your thoughts on that?
Well, how I'm going to tackle this is ask you a real quick question. So you said this is like through your Fire Stick, Steam Link stuff. Fire Stick, that's by Amazon, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so by Amazon. So what are they just using like Amazon cloud servers, or how are they doing that?
Well, no, you can actually, what it is that Steam Link is accessible on any it's a streaming app, and it's accessible on any Android device. So I originally used it on my Fire Stick, but I can use it on an Android phone. The Fire Stick is not like a third-party provider of it. It's just one of the devices you can use it on. With that being said, man, you sign up for or you download the beta app. Set up your controller, which you can use the touchscreen controller if you're using it on a phone, and you just go to town, man. Just play.
I will say that's pretty impressive, because when you think about it, if Steam is doing that, and while Steam is a pretty big company, I will say I don't think they have shit on Microsoft. So the idea of a whole cloud thing just simply wouldn't work, that the latency would be too much, or it was just gonna be dead on arrival. Well, I keep seeing with modern technology that's in our homes right now, streaming games, not even movies, games is clearly working. We can talk about how NVIDIA offers their GTX series, their graphics cards, in a streaming format that you could stream like a GTX 1080 through the fucking internet, through your LTE. And it works. Bro,
I'm telling you, Nethos, you would be so amazed. I have a piece of shit phone. As you know, the two cheapest people on the planet is me and Porter Rock, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have a Galaxy Samsung 7. My phone was for 35 cents, came with 35 cents in a pack of Twizzlers. You know what I mean? Brand new. I'm telling you, on a Motorola E5 Supra, look it up. You can see the specs and all the other stuff. This looks marvelous, and it hardly has any latency whatsoever. even with a Bluetooth controller connected, I'm also using the touchscreen. The touchscreen integration is flawless. And again, like you said, Steam is not a company to sneeze at. Gabe Newell's one of the richest people on this planet, right? With that being said, Microsoft got a bigger war chest.
They do.
And if they fully put their weight behind this technology, and it is like this outside of your home, for goodness sakes. Oh my. My.
Speaking of the 2 billion gamers, and when you think about it, no matter what you say about Microsoft, you cannot deny they put quality products out there every time. Maybe they're not supported with third-party applications and so on, but their hardware and so on is always of a high quality. Absolutely. We can even think about back in the day. They were already streaming games to their phones and stuff. I remember Halo 4 was running on a Windows phone, but they said no. They wanted their latency to be perfect. Yeah. They wanted it to be perfect, so they refused to release it. So now that it looks like they're going to release an Xbox Scar, the streaming version, Microsoft has perfected this technology.
Dude, I hope I'm right with you. And again, this is all in the hopes that this gets to Redmond. You can. This is step one, but this is a very big, large step one. And we're going to talk about this a little bit further too, because there was something said, Nethos, on another podcast that really was enlightening. You know what I'm saying, to all this, right? Yeah. But this is a very good step one. This isn't the silver bullet, but it's a very good step one. But before we get into all that juiciness, let's talk a little bit about why we started this podcast. And I think a good way to do it, and you tell me if you agree, is by explaining to the public, first and foremost, what brought you to Xbox. What did you adore about Xbox so much, and why you're in this position right now to where you're concerned and what you're hoping that our podcast can do.
Well, my gaming story is a little odd if you compare to most people, because like I keep saying on many podcasts, but always shocks someone in the audience. Believe it or not, guys, I'm not white. I'm actually from India. I'm Indian. And my first console, even though I was born in 1997, is actually the NES. And of course, I was really young when I had that. I was probably like 1 year old when I had that thing. It even came with a keyboard or some shit. But yeah, my first game was like Super Mario. Then we moved on. I eventually got to America with my family and so on. And they always had me a few generations behind where gaming was at, because, we're Indian. My parents didn't understand what the fuck new console was. They just like said game. That's all they said. Oh, you want the new game? And they just bought whatever the hell was cheap and available. So by the time you'd get like maybe the PS2, I just finally got the Nintendo 64. And eventually I finally was about to catch up. Like, I was doing really good at school or whatever. My mom really wanted me to buy the new Xbox console. And what ended up happening was they sent my dad, who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So when he went up to Walmart or GameStop, wherever the hell he bought the console, he says, "Oh, I want the Xbox." And do you mean the 360 or the Xbox? And he's like, and he probably just chose the cheaper one, which was the OG Xbox. So in 2006, when everyone's getting their Xbox 360 and so on, I open my gift and I get an OG Xbox. And I'm like, honestly, though, I wasn't like really rich. Like, my family wasn't well off, of course, because we were immigrants. So I was just happy to even get a console. I was genuinely excited. And by the time, I got the Xbox, it's Indian tradition to kind of give away your old console. So they actually gave away my old PS2 to some other family who lives in Canada now. But either way, I was happy because I had the Xbox. And believe it or not, while a lot of people don't think there was much of a difference between the PS2 and Xbox, MM2K, you always show your age, but I think even you remember the Xbox multiplats looked far superior to the PS2. Like, I'm talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was like my favorite game, or at least my second favorite game. That game shits on the PS2 version compared to the Xbox version. It's amazing how much better the Xbox version really is. And then I remember, I'm aspiring on the screen right now. So clearly my favorite gaming franchise is Halo. And me getting into Halo was a complete accident. I used to rent games from like a local video store. And when I rented games, my dad just showed me a bunch of games. They showed me like Scooby-Doo or whatever. And I remember picking up Halo 2, and I look in the back cover, and I see that it's like a grunt, Master Chief shooting it. I was like, oh, this must be a fun game. So we brought it home. I see your comment there, Philosopher Doom. But I brought it home, and then I remember booting it up, and you go through the tutorial where you look up, down, left, right, and then you go to the elevator with Sergeant Johnson. And I remember Sergeant Johnson started swearing up a storm, saying motherfucker and shit. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I pop out the disc, realize it's rated M. I'm like, oh shit, it's about a rated M game. But you know, oh well, my parents didn't give a fuck. So I continued on playing Halo 2, and that's where I fell in love with the Halo franchise. And I remember, even though I was way behind the other kids, I still enjoyed my OG Xbox. And we got to the point where we got the Wii generation coming out, the Xbox 360 is really lively, the PS3 just launched. And I remember, for whatever reason, I asked for the Wii, and that was a fucking mistake. I don't like talking about it. But eventually we got to the point where I wanted Xbox 360 or PS3. Those were the two options. And, you know, at the time, I was playing a lot on my PC because I used to be a RuneScape guy. Believe it or not, guys, the name Nethos doesn't mean anything. It's actually a name I made up to play RuneScape, because on RuneScape, it's a big free-to-play RPG game, well, MMO game, and it's hard as fuck to get a name, at least the original one, and Nethos was one of the few, and that's the name that stuck around. So by the time I was playing my PC and stuff, I remember playing the Halo Combat Evolve demo, and it was a free PC thing, and the lag was horrible and horrendous, but I remember playing that and realizing, you know, Halo's my favorite franchise, and even back then when I was, I don't know, 9 years old, I could see online gaming was going to be the fucking future. And I knew, doing a bunch of research as a little kid, that Xbox Live at that time was superior to PSN. I'm talking about the 360 Live compared to the PS3's Live. I know it's a little different now, but Xbox Live, it was clearly superior back then. So I knew I had to invest into an Xbox. I wanted Halo 3, even though the PlayStation was fantastic and they had great games. I was a Halo guy, and I had to get it. So that's how I ended up with getting an Xbox 360 around 2010, because, you know, some years were delayed, but I got the Xbox 360, and, you know, everyone was playing Modern Warfare 2. I was playing Halo 3 because I was the weird kid. And that's how I really got into Xbox. I loved Halo. I loved the online gaming. I loved the community. And things were just fantastic. I remember getting exclusive content for Call of Duty and so on. I remember kids who had PS3s at my high school or whatever, they were almost viewed as being weird, and I remember being so far behind. Like, by the time we were talking about the new Black Ops 2 DLC, a month later, they started finally talking about it, and we're like, ooh, you had to wait a whole month. We're already done with that shit. So that's why Xbox was awesome to me. It was a premier platform.
Gotcha. Yeah. So with that being said, why? What if it was so premier and so great? What's happened? Why are you, Nethos, concerned? What is concerning you right now from that golden era to when you originally got the original Xbox and was comparing it to the PlayStation 2 games and said, "Wow, this is a leap ahead." What in your mind or what in your eyes has changed from then to now?
Well, I'll be honest. It wasn't like this was a sudden, complete change from then to now. Because honestly, I think even you agree, MM2K, because I remember you told me your past, and I'll let you get to your past here in just a moment, that, you know, you were happy with your Xbox One even for the longest time, but it wasn't until the years of 2017 to onward now is where we started getting a little bit concerned, because realistically, when the Xbox One came out, yes, it wasn't doing as good as the PS4. However, things were still looking good. We were getting games. We were still getting treated better. Remember, we got Titanfall 1. That was a huge-ass game. That was almost like our Halo. We got that shit exclusive for lifetime. We got Rise of Rome. I know that's an average game, but we're also showing off how they're going to get Quantum Break, and Killer Instinct was their day one. They had so many games. They were doing marketing deals with Call of Duty back then. You know, while Xbox wasn't selling as good as PlayStation, they at least still gave a damn, and they at least acted like they were still top dog with the way they were doing their business. But then that slowly transformed more and more as Phil Spencer came into his role. He got rid of the Call of Duty deal. He didn't want to do any more time exclusives. Rise of the Tomb Raider was the last one he would do, and they basically vowed to turn that shit off. Titanfall 2 went completely multiplat, and I know they wanted to go multiplat, but they didn't even get exclusive DLC or anything for it. And at the end of the day, they started putting all our exclusives, the great Halos, the great Gears of War, on PC. And I know Halo 5 isn't technically on PC, but it is partly with its custom games and so on. And Halo Infinite is also going to be on PC. So basically they took away the premier aspect of this Xbox brand and they made it everywhere. I get you want to reach the 2 billion gamers, but you have to, like Next Gen 720, become the master of one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't have put it any better. I might as well not even say shit. Thank you, Lethals, for always stealing my thunder. If you're not giving me L's, then you're trying to steal my thunder. No.
Hey, you say I give you L's, but honestly, in that thread, you gave me an L. I had to back the fuck
now
off.
you sound like Maslin. Maslin said, I don't fire them. They fire themselves. So that's what's up. Big ups to the chat. We got some good people joining us today. Big up to that
lively.
I don't even know if I can say this dude's name. Lethal, can I say Post Up's name? Because he's posting all this.
No, that's Pony Up.
That's Pony Up. Oh. He said,
by the way, Pony Up, I thought Xbox 448 was bad at Spider-Man, but holy shit, this dude Pony Up can't fight for save his life. He died like 4 times on the first Wilson Fisk construction site.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, somebody did worse than me. Hallelujah. I got shit. I need somebody, because you know how Maslin is, man. He don't cut me no breaks. All right. So big ups to everybody, man. I appreciate everybody, and so does Nethals. And big ups, now that we're talking Xbox, let's do this. Def Jam, bam, man. Happy birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Def Jam. That was one of the coolest guys in the community. I remember he was one of the first people to give me a follow, and he's always been a cool guy. Never get into trouble or anything.
Absolutely. So I'm just tweeting this out to everybody, and including our boy Phil Spencer and Mike Ybarra. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, this is where we are going to talk all Xbox, good, bad, and indifferent. You know what I mean? And we're also going to try to give everyone a platform where they can talk about their experience, like how we're talking about ours now, and then their concerns with the roadmap. And what they think are the right ways to plug forward. I think what happens a lot, especially with my professional experience, is that when you have this, just go to our Q&A section. Nobody wants to go to a goddamn Q&A section. You know what I'm saying? All the time. The people that, okay, let me put it like this. And I don't want to make this a bore fest, but I also, in one of my responsibilities at work, I manage a call center, right? So nobody wants to talk to the manager of the call center over some good shit. Nobody calls me and says, hey, Jane Doe handled my call wonderfully, and she did this and she did that and all this stuff. Nobody does that. They only call you when they have problems, right? Or they want to complain about something. Very rarely is it to give accolades, and is what I'm trying to say. So when you see a lot of this stuff that may be going into the Q&A section over at the Xbox site, it might be a lot of disgruntled people, and there might be some good ideas there, but people might be happy with some things and just want it to be flourished. And I think, again, if we give them this platform, and sometimes hearing things through audio instead of seeing it visually, through audio, it's a little bit more impactful. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you type something, this is rule number 1 that I learned in business. When you type something, you got to pay attention to the tone of the email that you're sending, because it's always not conveyed correctly. And I think a lot of that may happen in some of the Q&A sections on the Xbox site. Hence why I think that there might be some directions that they're taking that I think Redmond is wrongly assuming that the Xbox brass appreciates. So it's platforms like this that I think will help break that mold. With that being said, thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to everybody. I just tweeted it out again. If you can, please retweet this again. This is a platform for all Xbox enthusiasts. Whether you want to have something good, bad, or indifferent to say, this is your platform. My man, LaButter said, I don't trust Phil. We get that. And again, Phil probably hears that a lot, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing is, is it that you don't trust Phil because you think he's up to something nefarious? Or you don't trust Phil because you think that you don't like the direction that he's going. You think that he means well, but you just don't like the direction where it's going. Either or, it not trusting someone at a position is not good. And we got to see how many people are out there like that. You know what I mean? And it's something that Phil is probably going to want to deep dive into too. So industry do a deep dive and to see what his popularity is. You know what I mean? Like that's real important. My man, Mr. Righteous Fish, also says, I'm in Seattle and I'll go to Redmond for y'all.
Okay. Shout out to Mr. Righteous Fish.
Oh, man, come on, man. Hey, look, as long as it's to do some good deeds, fine. We don't want to be sending no soldiers out there to do some nefarious stuff. But the big ups to Mr. Righteous Fish. He's a big supporter of a lot of the Triple B content. So thank you. And again, we appreciate everybody. Me and Nethos, we appreciate everybody watching right now. Yeah. My man, the Bang House said, Nethos, MM2K, it's nothing new for PlayStation to dominate. They've been dominant since day one in 94. Let me say something about that before I get into, and I'll let Nethos chomp at the bit about that too. Sony has been very dominant, right? Sony, once they came on the scene, they were not knocked off their throne. They were never knocked off their throne. When it came to the console market, handheld, they could never get a good grip on the handheld. I think what it is with the handheld, they do a Microsoft. They come out with all cylinders running and then they just lose gas, right? Excuse me. With that being said, I think you got to give credit where credit is due. Bang House, who was the only people that knocked Microsoft off their coat, off the high horse. I mean, not Microsoft, knocked Sony off the high horse. It was Microsoft. Now, again, you people will probably say, no, it was the Wii, it was Nintendo. Microsoft and Sony primarily look at the software sales. They're not so fancy upon the hardware, where Nintendo may make more money off their hardware. You know what I'm saying? Look at the goddamn retro Joy-Cons are what, $70, $80? Come on, that's ridiculous. Those old Nintendo joysticks are $80? Come on. Please, I can go down to my local electronics store and get them for $5 a piece. They're really selling them to you for $80. Like, let's be real here. They're selling you cardboard for,
cardboard.
Exactly. They're selling you cardboard for $49.99. Like, really?
They're selling witches' brooms even. I mean, they're throwing some crazy shit over there.
Yeah, Microsoft and Sony, again, they know their big cash cow is software. All right. So it's kind of like there's two battles. Nintendo is trying to infiltrate your home with their little toys, their interactive toys. That happened to feature Mario, right? Where Microsoft and Sony, they are trying to infiltrate your home with AAA games, high fidelity, studio movie quality type of experiences that you can interact with. So there's two totally different markets. With that being said, Microsoft was the one that knocked Sony off its high horse because at the end of the day, Microsoft sold the most software. They sold more software than the Wii did. Sony did too. So it was Microsoft, Sony, then Nintendo when the Wii was out. The Wii was just popular because it was in everybody's home because of basically one game, Wii Sports. At my job, at my place of employment, we had 3 Wiis on our floor. You know what I mean? So if anybody stayed late, we could do some Wii bowling. After we coded a database, we could go play some Wii bowling. You know what I mean? So let's. I don't want to confuse the two, and I don't want people to say, "Well, no, it was Nintendo." No, it was actually Microsoft that did it. Nobody has done that to Sony on the console space since Sony's jumped into the console market. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Looking at the PlayStation, let's look at the PlayStation 1. Dominated. PS2 dominated. Even killed off Sega when you think about it. Sega was a Microsoft back in the day, like as in the third person there. And now with the PS3, you thought they were about to dominate, but they got very arrogant. They released a $600 console. And just like how you see that meme of the NFL player getting hit and getting back up and he has a shocked face and like, these dudes are hitting hard. That's how Xbox was to the PlayStation 3. Xbox knocked them the fuck off their high horse. Like, I know the PS3 probably sold more due to the worldwide sales, but in America and the UK, the Xbox 360 fucking killed it.
Absolutely.
And I got this question here from Mrs. Righteous Fish, and this is why I'm going to ask you, MM2K, because you are the numbers guy. Yep. He says, why, besides the big 3 Xbox exclusive, he means Forza, Gears, Halo, do these exclusives just not sell well? And I think this is almost a farce. I don't think it's the exclusives don't sell well. I think Microsoft gives up on exclusives because they don't sell like a Halo, Gears, or Forza. But what's your take?
Stop stealing my thunder, Nethos. You took my answer right out my goddamn mouth. You tell me I want your take, and then you take. No, I'm just joking. No, you hit it right on the nail, Nethos. It's really, I mean, I have a talking problem. I don't know to shut the hell up, but there's really no continuation from what you just said. Microsoft now. Here's Microsoft's problem. Okay, and you still see residue of it there. Microsoft is a company that so easily wants to get conveyor belt. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, they want to be able to create a product that is unique and different and catches people's eye. And as soon as they got you hooked, then they just put it out there on a conveyor belt. It's cookie cutter, and they just put it out there. And they tried earlier on with a lot of different things, and I don't think that they struck while the iron was hot with these things. And so they gave up on them. And you're still seeing that now. So what Nethos is saying is that it's not that these games don't sell. Well, look at Uncharted. Look, let's talk a little game Uncharted, okay? I used to be part of a group, well, and then I'm going to segue this into why I'm concerned and where I've come from as far as Xbox is concerned. Each of the Uncharteds, except for 4, had the hardest time pushing 2 million units until what? Until they were bundled with a console. I know this personally because last generation, I used to write articles for a group called the New Age Factions, little dog shit ass online site. We were all trying to get to E3 and nobody was paying us any attention, but we still kept plugging away. And one of the things that we did is we looked at various numbers out there for games like Uncharted, and just saw their growth. And it wasn't until Sony bundled them with consoles that they cracked the 2 million mark in most part. I think Uncharted 1 is a cool game. I think Uncharted 2 is a good game as well. But with that being said, like Nethos said, the difference between Microsoft and Sony is they saw the potential there. They saw where they needed to put the guardrails up or where they could give those developers their creative freedom to create something better, and they stuck with it, and look what you got now. You got an Uncharted that, even though it was bundled with something, it hit 9 million sales. That is phenomenal. And it did it in a rather fast time, okay? Microsoft doesn't do that. If you put it out there and it's not popping with 4 million, then it's questionable if there's going to be a sequel. And that's still something that we're seeing right now. Hence why they're not taking any risks. They're not taking the risk. You're having these low fidelity or maybe these non-AAA games, these B games out there because they don't want to take that risk. They're not plugging that AAA money into something unless they're very confident that it's a surefire hit. And that's part of the problems that we're going to talk about. But before I go into my game, let me get your thoughts on that again. I mean, do you think if there is anything to add to that, to what Mr. Righteous Fish said?
Basically what you just covered and what I said originally is basically what the situation is with, I would say, maybe the older regimes, because there's something about this new regime where it seems like they want to almost take risks now, and that's probably due to Game Pass being, a monster at this point. We don't know the sales of Game Pass, but clearly it's doing well if they're willing to invest so much into studios and so on. And the only reason you might get sequels to other games that maybe even don't even sell well is because they're so low to produce, like Ori and the Blind Forest. I mean, that game probably did sell well, but it's cheap to make. They're going to do a sequel. Cuphead, cheap to make, did well, going to make it a sequel. Even Recore, there's a good chance that it's getting a sequel because it was so fucking cheap.
Yep.
However, your Quantum Breaks, that shit's dead to me. I think it's literally dead. Your Rise on the Rome, they wanted to do a sequel, but, Crytek didn't want to sell. I don't think Microsoft tried that hard to get the IP. So that's probably dead. And all these other AAAs are probably dead. Sunset Overdrive is the most famous one. That is literally dead. I know people said, well, Insomniac's trying to get a sequel, whatever, they're tweeting Microsoft. It's bad when they're tweeting Microsoft. That's almost like trying to go suck a dude's dick to get you something. They're literally begging Microsoft at this point. You know it's bad when they make the shit public.
Got these cheeseburgers, man. Oh, this is why this is late night, peoples. But no, it's true. It's like Insomnia, and then you look at it, and then you're saying, oh well, who cares if Insomniac does what's it called too? Then you look them go across the street and see what they do with another franchise, right? And then you're like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
I don't know how far you're into Spider-Man, but it literally has the Sunset Overdrive DNA within the fucking game.
Absolutely.
The parkouring is pretty much the fucking same. And yes, Spider-Man's a much better character and whatever than anything they could do with Sunset Overdrive. But the fact that the gameplay is similar to a degree, and you see Spider-Man going to sell over 10 million probably, it astonishes you what you really did have there, Microsoft, and you weren't even willing to try to invest into getting a sequel, even though Insomniac begs you for fucking one.
And I'm going to say this too, Nethos. I think there's a method to the madness. I know a lot of people dump on Phil.
Yes, that's what I want to get into. Let's go.
Okay, well, let me do this first, and then we're going to get to the juicy juice. The reason why I came into Xbox is I took a hiatus. I'm in a very demanding industry, and for a very long time, I didn't play games. I want to say for half of the PlayStation 1 era, and I did not play video games, and I didn't play video games for the N64 era at all. I lived at work, so when that dynamic changed, and I had free time again. I was like, well, let me play some games, but during that time I did have a PlayStation 1, and all I played on it was RPGs. I'm a big RPG fanatic. My favorite game of all times, as a matter of fact, is a little game called Phantasy Star 2. It's for the Sega Genesis, but that's here nor there. So anyway, I picked up the GameCube first. Right. And I fell in love with the GameCube. I loved it. The problem, and then what it was is that I had noticed some tricks. I'm a very frugal and cheap bastard. So wherever I can gimmick and scheme and get something for the three things for the price of one, I'm going to do it. So we used to have this local store by me called the Video Game Exchange. Now it's called the Exchange because they sell a bunch of shit. But I used to go to the Video Game Exchange, and these people, they didn't know what they were doing at first. They're better at this now. But what happens is, like, say if you traded a game in Nethos and the game just had a little nick on it, it could just have a little piece. It could have some rice pudding on it, for crying out loud. They drastically dropped the price of the game. So it could be something, I don't know, Halo. It could have been 2 days after the first Halo release. And if there was like a piece of the Jello on it, they were like, oh, no, this is only worth $3, So
oh shit,
I would literally go there, and there was 4 of them in my area. So I would go to all 4, like 3 days, three times a week. And I would go and pick out all the shit that they've cataloged and dropped like that. And I would trade it into GameStop. And I ended up getting all 3 systems. But for some reason, I was just in love with my GameCube. Didn't plug in my Xbox, did not play my PlayStation 2. All right. Then I got hooked on to a little game called Ghost Recon on the GameCube. But it was difficult for me to play. So I ended up getting it for the Xbox, because playing it on a GameCube, you had to press all these buttons to do this and that.
Yeah, that controller was trash.
And the problem is that it was missing too many functions. It didn't have enough functions on the controller to match these new FPS games, which were new to me at the time. So then when I played it on my Xbox, I'm like, not only does this thing look 1,000 times better, but shit, I got all the free roam of the controllers because I got these push analogs. So then I started shifting to my Xbox. And as I started to shift to my Xbox, and the GameCube started to die out anyway, but as I started shifting to my Xbox, I'm starting to notice these games that I don't see anywhere. And nothing against Japanese games. I grew up on Japanese games. But it's always refreshing to get something new in the mix too. So I'm seeing games like Oblivion. I'm seeing games like I'm seeing games like Knights of the Old Republic. You know what I mean? I'm seeing games, Doom 3, which a lot of people slept on, but I liked it. I had it for PC and I liked it on the system too. And then I'm starting to, even games like Brute Force, where Brute Force was a shitty game, right? It was like a third-person Halo with animals, but it had separate screen co-op, which in early 2000 was unheard of and really wasn't duplicated again until you got Gears of War on the Xbox 360. So it was shit like that really like blew my mind. Then the 360 comes out. And then I know everybody was talking about it like it was a crap game, but I love Perfect Dark Zero as a launch title. And then there was Call of Duty 2. And then there was Gears of War. And I'm like, holy shit, this is like taking it to a whole nother level. And I just fell in love with the 360. Then I saw Mass Effect. And I'm telling you, the game that changed me as a gamer currently and what I believe were possible with games was BioShock. That changed me. That changed me forever. And I played that game. I loved it. And what I loved about the game is I'm an action buff. I don't care two shits about a story. That's what my Netflix account is for. You know what I'm saying? But what BioShock was able to do, Nethos, was it gave you this airy, creepy story of this nuanced environment underwater. And then it created its own genre. What was it? They started framing it the action RPG, right? Where you had elements and it was a shooter mixed together. It was just bananas to me. And then you saw what Xbox was bringing forth was these newer experiences, and it really knocked PlayStation off its foundation. I mean, PlayStation had games like Uncharted, and then later in the generation, they had their titles that suited their fans. But the games to me that brought the generation forward were the Mass Effects and the BioShocks. And they tell you, Ken Levine tells you, if it wasn't for Microsoft, Mass Effect would never have come to fruition. He talks about how he was talking with Bill Gates, and Bill Gates was giving him suggestions at E3, at the E3 release. So put that in your pipe and smoke it for people that say that Microsoft didn't do shit for the gaming community. But we'll save that for another time. Now, lastly, before I shut up, this generation. What is the issue this generation? Well, late generation, you saw something happen, Nethos, where Jack Tretton said, holy shit, we're getting the mud shit stomped out of us. And we got to do something about it because this is our kit and caboodle. Like, this ain't even Microsoft's kit and caboodle. This is what keeps the lights on this gaming right now. Our movie shit, nothing is working right now. Like, we got to change this. And then they got hit with the 30 million hack. And they said, you know what? We got to do better. And then they started off first. They started off slow. They didn't do everything right, but they started off slow with giving you free games with their paid subscription. And then they started hitting their more popular areas globally, like Europe, with bundle packs of like Batman, Uncharted, stuff like that, and custom consoles and stuff like that. And the people appreciated it then. And then they went back to the drawing board, Nethos, and they said, next generation, we got to do what Xbox did. We got to up our game on our user interface. We got to have our apps running smooth. We got to have demos easily accessible, and we got to come up with a powerful machine. On the flip side, what did Microsoft do? Microsoft said, we got this in the bag. We won. We're winning, because that's what Microsoft is used to doing. Once they overcome something, they're used to just intimidating you and having you run in a corner. And they thought Sony was going to do the same thing, and Sony wasn't going to do that. And they got caught flat-footed, and then they fell off balance with the Kinect, yes. But with that said, the thing that is concerning me now is still their lack of focus on the things that brought me to the system. I told you, Doom 3, Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, BioShock. Like, I don't see the investment, nor do I see the collaboration of bringing those games forward. Yes, you have 5 new studios. Yes, you have a quadruple A studio. I don't know what you consider quadruple A. You got up on stage on stage at Diceville, and you said that, and you praised Uncharted and Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't want Uncharted and Horizon Zero Dawn on my Xbox because I already have it on PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Xbox has to have its identity to me, and I think they're in like a midlife crisis. They want to give you this 20 million, or they want to support this 2 billion with these games like Sea of Thieves and all, these just normal titles or mediocre titles. And it sounds like to me, as far as going triple A, they simply want to do what Sony's doing, and that's not acceptable to me. So that's my problem, and that's my concern. Now I will shut up.
That was a legendary rant, and he had so many good points in there, so I'm going to have to tackle it slowly. But one of the points that really caught my ears was when you said, Xbox had the BioShocks, and back in the day, the person who did BioShock or whatever says if it wasn't for Microsoft, this game would have never come to fruition. I also remember Vince Zappella, he was salty about it, but he says if it wasn't for Xbox, Titanfall would not be a thing. And I'm thinking now, what other developers say that stuff? That when they say that stuff is when you hear from Insomniac. They said if it wasn't for Sony, Spider-Man wouldn't have been a thing. Yep. They almost flipped. Yes, Xbox had Titanfall, but that Xbox One to what it is now is almost completely different with the way things are now. Yep. They don't do marketing deals. They don't go after games. And in fact, it's Sony the ones that are doing those Xbox 360 tricks. Hey, look, this game's Space Hulk, which you like. We make fun of it because it's a 58 meta. But I would say that's an Xbox game. It screams Xbox.
Absolutely.
What does Sony do? They throw some money at them. Don't put that shit on Xbox. Yep. That's something Microsoft would have done back in the day. That's what Microsoft did with fucking Minecraft. We're going to talk about Minecraft later, but on the Xbox 360, Minecraft was a year exclusive. Do you know how ridiculous that is now? Yeah. The fucking game that is literally everywhere, it was an Xbox 360 exclusive?
Crazy.
That's the type of Microsoft I miss. They know what's hot. They get that shit that's hot. They get you the premiere servers. They get you that DLC first. And they market like no one has done before. And I get the PlayStation took your marketing team, but you can't tell me there's only one marketing team out there.
Exactly.
There's no excuse for that.
Mythos, I don't even think that it's what we want is not hard. Like Rise was a cool game. I'm not going to say it was a system seller. You know what I'm saying? What else was a cool game?
Quantum Break was unique for all its faults.
Quantum Break was unique, and and Sunset Overdrive was a good game. Here's the problem: it's called product placement. It's an industry term. When you look at Xbox, maybe Quantum Break kinda, but you don't think those games don't scream sci-fi shooter.
They don't.
You got to know who you are, and you are the box that provides the sci-fi shooter. So people were waiting for a badass sci-fi shooter. And if it's not going to be Halo, then, okay, fine. It doesn't always have to be Halo. It could be something else. You can continue working on Halo till later. What's your badass new sci-fi shooter? Because this is what we like. And they had none.
And you know what's a great sci-fi shooter that also goes with Xbox's great RPGs? I'm not a fan of Fable, but if they did something where, like, you see Mass Effect Andromeda clearly struggled, what if you took the initiative and what if you made them make the new Mass Effect? I'm not saying literally called the new Mass Effect, but you know what I mean? A new sci-fi shooter RPG. Like, there's these things that are out there that we can't even get anymore. And Xbox, like Sony has striking these single-player games, you can just strike these certain genres that we're just missing. We don't have a Mass Effect this generation besides Andromeda, which MM2K, you like Mass Effect, but can you agree that Andromeda just was not the best of the bunch? Yeah, that didn't really necessarily fill your need.
It didn't fill my need, but it wasn't the best of the bunch. But it was something that could have possibly been flourished with Xbox. They're not studio heads. They're not they're not game development mentors. They have money. They have money. That's it. They have money. So when they collaborate with great developers and they help fund their ideas and they just, put their 2 cents in here and there, you get a fantastic product. They didn't do that this year. They kind of went subpar. Again, I'm not saying that the people that did Sunset Over Insomniac is subpar. They're not subpar. It's just not a typical Microsoft game. And what Microsoft tried to do is they tried to push that as their bread and butter this gen. And I think that it just didn't latch on to the demographic because it wasn't a sci-fi shooter. But
yeah, let's be real. Sunset Overdrive almost looked like a PlayStation game. And there's nothing wrong with opening up your portfolio. Maybe you will get Xbox fans that will love Sunset Overdrive if you keep trying instead of just giving up. But you know what? A game screamed Xbox to me. I never got to make a video on it, but I think you agreed with me back in the day. And it's a game that's not even marketed much. It's a game that you honestly forget about. But that Rage 2 footage, you don't even have to call it Rage or anything. Bro, it could be a new IP. But that's footage of that sequel. Does that not scream Xbox to you?
Oh. Look who decided to look who came.
Oh shit, the grandfather himself.
Look who came out of somebody's granny's bed.
Hey, hold on, let me grab my headphones, man. Hold on. I didn't know y'all was doing those shows at my grandson's birthday party, little party and shit.
Word.
I didn't know what's going on. All right, man, hold on.
You came out of somebody's grandma's bed. Did you give her back her teeth, man?
Hey, y'all on the air? Y'all off the air? Y'all on the air?
No,
we're on the air, bro.
Oh man! Oh, what you guys talking about, man? What's going on?
Well, we was talking about what brought the thing of the show is we're not going to be all negative on Xbox, but we're gonna come down the middle. We're going to speak the truth.
Okay.
And, we were in the middle of talking about what brought us to Xbox, like what got us excited and what we think went wrong. You know what I mean? And then we got a line up of topics that we didn't even get into yet. But hey, the man of the hour is here. Next gen.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you was doing this today. I'm sorry. I do apologize. But yeah, man. What's up?
Yo, next gen. What's
up,
bro? What brought you to you? We've never heard this from you before.
Okay, what you want to know?
What brought you
to the Xbox?
What got you excited about Xbox to where at one point in time it was your premier console?
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna tell you a little bit. Without incriminate myself. I didn't even know what an Xbox was.
Okay.
I'm saying this. I've always been a gamer. Like I've always had everything. You know what I mean? But I didn't follow it closely, like the E3s and stuff. When I walk into a store, how back in the day, this before the internet. They had the internet, but I wasn't really on the internet. How I would judge a game was how the box cover art would look. Remember that? You judge the game. Atari robbed a lot of jokers for a lot of money back in the day. That's how we would judge the games by how they looked in the box cover. You know what I mean? And Joker came through the hood, wanting to bargain. You know what I mean? A better bargain. And he had a credit card with the 2 Toys R Us. I already had the PlayStation 2, Xbox, Microsoft, new console, so I just took it, got every game they had there. This is back in December of 2001, right? And once I found out that I can put an actual music CD onto the console, and I can have it playing in the background while I was playing. I think it was Reckless or Tony Hawk Skateboard, whatever the hell I had at the time. I was like, blew my mind, right? But it didn't have that many games, as many games. What everybody was going crazy about Halo, and but wasn't never really my thing, you know what I mean? And then, getting the gamer magazines, whatever the case, Xbox Live. I think it might have been GameSpot. I read about it, but I filled out to be a beta tester. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that my family member of mine who works for Cablevision. And it was talking about broadband. I think what the hell's broadband? Internet or whatever the case. So I called and got the modem. I didn't have a computer; just got the modem. I literally had my Xbox plugged into my modem. That's how it went. And I was online, and I can talk to people. And bro, I was sold. You can be in your house, and I can be in my house. I mean, back in the day, you would set up a match to go play someone in Madden or play someone in NBA Live or whatever the case. I come to my house at 5:00. Wasn't no more of that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Once that, bro, when Xbox Live came out, and you know me, I always like to pop shit, bro. I was sold, done. You know what I mean? Still, like I said again, they didn't have as many games as PlayStation because I tell people this all the time. During the PlayStation 2 era, during the 6th generation, the multi-plats we have today were exclusives back then. You know what I mean? So that bolstered Sony's library. You know what I mean? They didn't really become multi-plats until the 7th generation, whether the Grand Theft Autos, the Metal Gear, whatever you name it, they were all Dante's Inferno. All that stuff was exclusive to the PlayStation 2, and if it did come to a rival platform, it came a year and a half or 2 years later. You know what I mean? So Sony had what they were doing, and they had all great third and second party support. That's why I gave and again you had the 360. Why I gave Microsoft so much credit because they really climbed out of a hole. They was really the underdog. The original Xbox outsold the GameCube. because they had it, what's called a cult fund with the Halo, the Xbox Live. Yeah. And then again, for them, the strides that they made with the 360, and and not to be Debbie Downer, no, it's not this type of show, to see where they came to now. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what the hell happened. You know what I mean? Somebody just slapped me in the head with a blackjack or something. I'm like, what the hell happened? You know what I mean? But that was it. When the Xbox Live, that really did it for me, bro. Xbox Live, you know what I mean? Then the 360 came out before the PS3 had a very rocky start. You know what I mean? Especially if you had an older high definition TV, like my TV at the time was 1080i. It didn't support that. I had a $600 console that would downgrade the signal to 480p. Like shit was just crazy. The controls didn't rumble. Voice was like no voice chat. None of the stuff that that people have now that we take for granted. That stuff wasn't there day one of the PS3. It wasn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was that. I mean, the 360. I was already an Xbox guy, but the 360, forget about it. Achievements and this and that. The arcades and stuff. Like I was done. Like they was on fire. You know what I mean?
So now that we know their direction, I'll let you chomp at this first, and then Nethos. Now that we know their direction, because like you said, you got hit with the blackjack, and it still ain't nobody come past with the smelling salts. Like we don't know what the hell is going on, what their direction is. We know that they're doing shit, but what is this shit going to come to? Mm-hmm. What do you think? Per what they put out there today, what do you think possibly could be a direction that they go down that could change all of this for them and put them back on top?
Okay, here's the thing, right? Now, earlier today, shameless plug, we had a show. It was me, Porter Rock, Kratos, Post, right? Mm-hmm. And it comes a time that everybody has a old shipment or time that they wake up. You know what I mean? Me, I've always been critical of Microsoft, whether you believe it or not. I've always, been critical of them. But my old shit moment, like what are we doing here? When they had a better showing for Age of Empire. Remember the show had the meltdown, Age of Empire, a PC exclusive. Then we see it again at E3, and then they talking about Gears Tactic and some other exclusive PC game. And I shout out to Kid Smooth. He had an awakening moment. Now we're talking about Minecraft, the dungeon. That's exclusive to PC.
Z, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've already recorded a goddamn video about this shit. I'm going to say it's going to be on your legendary level of rants.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, understand that, like, what's the end game? And this is the truth, and this is my opinion. Ultimately, it's about the games. You know what I mean? There's no excuse where we've been for the last 2.5 years, right? But if they, and it's hard to say, most because as long as they're making money, the business of what's the win. Like you're looking from old school way, longest, who sells the most consoles. It's about, again, they made 2.10 billion on a diabetic diet, right?
Yeah.
But my question, like I said, I don't think they're ever going to win another generation or whatever. The reason why I say that because you're still going to have Sony and Nintendo are still going to have what you call exclusives to their platform. You know what I mean? And which again, you because you're selling a console or device, and you're stripping all the value away from it, putting everywhere else. You know what I mean? I know you make more money with your software being more places. You know what I mean? But as far as them being the industry leader, I don't think that's ever going to happen again. Because again, check it out, right? Not saying that I'm interested in Minecraft, not saying that I'm interested in Gears Tactic, and I don't give a hell about Age of Empire. But what Phil said, he said the Xbox will have some exclusives and the PC will have some exclusives. Cool, right? But every game that we come out for our console, Xbox, which us here, fund this goddamn, we spend more money on the PC guys, right? Go day and date to the PC, we pay for online. It's like, when is the goddamn end game? It's like you give them an inch, they take a mile. You know what I mean? What's the excuse now? Now, again, I don't care about Minecraft. I don't. I'm just saying, again, you have exclusive software for the PC side of things, right? Our exclusives come day and date on PC. You know what I mean? Like, what is the end game?
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna put on, because Post, now that he's with the other side, I'm gonna take his I Love Phil t-shirt. I'm gonna put it on right now. You know what I'm saying? He still left little rose petals with it too. All right, so here's what I'm going to ask you, Z.
Okay.
Over the weekend, I've been playing my Steam games. Now, even though it's been within network, like in my house, I've been playing them on my phone and on my Fire Stick and my Fire TV. and the latency is fantastic. I'm playing Metro Last Light, not even the enhanced version, but Metro Last Light, and like top-notch fidelity. This is the technology that Microsoft is going over. If they can somehow master that technology where you can take your shit with you outside of the house, and it has that type of latency and it's smooth, buttery smooth like that, are you trying to tell us that you can't, that Microsoft will not tap into that 2.1 billion market and win NPD from then on out?
Okay, no. Because you told me NPD as far as selling you what that 2 billion gamers out there, you're not giving them a reason to buy your platform. Okay. Why would I spend $60 for the more expensive version on your console when I can have the what was they calling it at the beginning of the generation? The oh my god, when Sony had the multiplayer, they was calling it but anyway, you have the better version on PC, cheaper version. You know what I mean? Why again will I confine myself to a console? Why am I going to spend $5 for your console? I got a PC that's more powerful than your console, and 9 times out of 10, the game will be cheaper also on PC. Why should I buy an Xbox? Why?
Because if I could take it with me on the go like a Nintendo Switch, you don't think that's popular?
I take an Xbox on the go.
Yeah. If the streaming Scarlet type thing works, and you can stream it on your phone.
I used to take Xboxes on the go back in the day when you.
I'm gonna keep it.
Who brought him in here, man?
Hey, bro. We used to take it back in the day.
But listen, that's back in the day.
That's where Xbox Live came from, the LAN parties.
I understand it, but listen, I like gaming. We're gaming at this series, man. I need to be gaming in the streets, bro. I need to keep my head on the swivel. Niggas trying to knock the stuffing out my taco, bro. They this serious. You know what I mean? But again, I'm just like I said before, and shout out to Kid Snooze, the corniest motherfucker I know, right? Mm-hmm. Even he tweeted, feel like, like me, my wake up shit moment again was that Age of Empire. Like
Age of Empire, yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on here? Now we got Gears Tactics, and now you talk about another. It's just like they just keep doing this. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. But just playing in my face. Like, when is the goddamn end game here, bro? Now that's no excuse. This is Microsoft owned. This is not made by third party. This is Microsoft's own IP. Fucking Minecraft. It's not even coming to your console.
Well, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into all that. Hold on.
Send Butter when he want a link to. Let's see in the chat.
Yeah, I sent him one.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's like, what is the end game?
I missed the OG Xbox days. I was a beta tester as well, and it was just a different vibe back there with the whole Xbox culture. It was a different energy, even though it was the underdog. Being able to, like Z said, play NBA 2K and have your own custom music playing in the background,
like, you know what I mean?
And streaming at the same, not streaming, but playing online at the same time. It was just the Xbox Live Arcade. It was just so many Geometry Wars. It was just so many things, little things that they did right that made that it really didn't matter if. To me, it really didn't matter if they was beating Sony or not. I was just in love with the console for what it was doing. It was doing things no other systems was doing at that time.
So the amount of innovation for you post up was
it was the amount of innovation, but it was like Z said, it was that first time you got on Xbox Live and you heard somebody on the other side.
What's crazy? I'm gonna take it one step further. Hear me out, right? And I'm on the table joke. I've always root for the underdog, always root for the bad guy in the movie, right? That's just me, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I felt their passion. Yeah, bumping around them out there, jumping around on stage. You know what I mean? And this and that. To Peter Moore getting the Halo tattoo, the Grand Theft Auto tattoo. I felt their passion. You know what I mean? It was, even though they were the underdog, the new kid on the block. Again, wasn't about the Microsoft's money and they can do this and that. I felt their passion. And I think the problem, again, gamers or Xbox fans are so worried about Microsoft and their money. And again, them making that 2.10, you got to be honest here. You got to be realistic. I'm not even trying to be Debbie Downer. What them making 2.10 billion? How? What does that benefit you? How did that benefit you?
because I don't know if you go way back. I'm not. There was a podcast we did. As a matter of fact, it was Beast Fire. We had some special guests.
Okay.
Come on, you know what I'm saying? Some Xbox wood buffers. And that was my argument. I was like, why do you keep talking about the fact that Xbox is making X amount of dollars? And the answer was, Z, because when they make more money, the games will come. Do you if we could just go down the panel, do you guys think that it's fair to just assume, maybe it is, that because they're making this money, that's the problem, that they weren't making the money, they didn't have access to the money, and now that they have access to the money, they made $10 billion to Sony $17 billion, not even half of what Sony did this year as far as selling games.
The money. Go ahead, see.
No, here's the
problem, bro.
No. We got to be honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 2 billion. I gotta keep going back and saying this again. Had nothing to do with fucking what's the guy's name? Phil. That came from the old regime.
Yeah.
Well, Phil gave us backwards compatibility. No, that was again talked about again during the old regime. Xbox One, everything that Microsoft and again, even the original 360 had backwards compatibility. Like it was small. They had money. Here's the thing, and let me clear this, right? To give us so many different controllers, so many different SKUs, right? But Microsoft got greedy, extremely greedy. They said, you know what? Instead of us giving Activision or Sledgehammer this $40 billion to have the marketing rights for Call of Duty. We think, back then when you thought of Call of Duty, you thought of the Xbox, right?
Yep.
We can pocket that $40 million. The game is still coming to our platform anyway. Xbox Live is better played on Xbox Live. This, that, and the other, right? But guess what? Things slowly started to change. Not only did they get the marketing rights, but they got exclusive content. You got to feel it. I've always said this. That cheap, chinky motherfucker. I don't think it's healthy for game of us to keep stuff off rival platforms. Get the fuck out of here. I don't think it's fair to keep content from other gamers. Like what? What are we doing here?
You know what, Z? We can even make the argument. We know Bill Gates gave them that bag to get into gaming. $4 billion on the hardware, $2 billion on Xbox Live. But they had it harder back then than it is now because Microsoft didn't even want to jump into the console business. And when they did, they was being looked over. Mm-hmm. And the money, and I don't really think they had the money back then, but they did more with less from a software perspective than what the regime is doing now, going through what they did with their money situation. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You can make that argument.
What's your thoughts on that, Nethos?
I think he's absolutely right. So, like, Microsoft back in the day was clearly hungry. Microsoft now, I don't know what the fuck they are. Yeah. They don't seem hungry to me, or if they do seem hungry, maybe they're hungry to get to those 2 billion gamers, but they're clearly not hungry to do best for your Xbox console fan base. Like, they took away the Call of Duty marketing. They got rid of the DLC. They said they won't do anything like Rise of the Tomb Raider where they get it timed exclusive. They're moving away from the Titanfall thing. So, and now they're making PC exclusives. Now they're making mobile exclusives. All the Xbox exclusives that should have been there are day and date to coming to PC. So at the end of the day, what are they doing for you as a console owner? Because they're not letting up on their Xbox Live policies. You have to pay to get into the party chat. You have to pay to play free-to-play games online. And you have to pay to play your Xbox Game Pass games online and so on. What is the incentive to you as a console owner instead of just being there to support the Xbox brand? What is it?
Butter, what's your thoughts on that, Butter?
Look, man, I said this from the very beginning. I feel like once they started making money, like Z said, honestly, they would just want to test the water. All right, we're making a lot of money. We don't have to do much. Honestly, it's basic business 101, right? You want to able to make a lot by putting in a little effort. First, you put in a lot of effort when you feel like, okay, we have the asset, it's generated in itself. We don't have to do much. And that's all they just did. Basically, they made enough. They put it enough hustle where they don't have to hustle. Pretty much. That's all that really was. Put enough hustle where you don't have to hustle anymore. And they did that. They got their diehard fans. They're going to buy their shit no matter what. And their main focus has shifted. I think they always wanted to go to PC route. Like, they always wanted to touch that crowd. But Xbox was like, the gateway to that. That's why I kept saying Microsoft is Windows, right? Wherever they can put that Windows on anything, they will, including Xbox. It's just like a tag along. Whatever the fuck they do with PC, Xbox is going to be a test. It's like a test dummy, basically. They're not going to tell you that. Anything they do for PC, they're going to put it on the Xbox just to see how it works out.
They do.
So that's all they doing for you guys. But their main focus is the PC crowd, because certain countries is PC based. Like certain countries don't even do consoles; they're heavily PC, and I think they just want to touch that. Like, you know, the console is going to be here for you guys. Like this, you know, they figure in America, like it's not that many. It's not PC centric, but their main goal is to honestly tackle the guys with PC, because that's where the money's at.
Like China,
exactly. That's their market. That's where they target it, because they know people in US is not. Like it's not PC heavy, so they're gonna give you guys the Xbox, right? But honestly, their main focus is PC, and it's always gonna be PC, and that's why things is going down like this, and it's forever gonna stay like this. I mean, it kind of sucks, but I kind of seen this coming anyway. Like I kind of did see this coming. That's why I'm not really like mad about it. All of this shit that they're doing, like, you know, less effort, don't give a fuck about giving you guys exclusive games. It's just like, because they know they're gonna make money no matter what. They just gonna make that, you know, that 10 billion. Like they're gonna do it because they found a way to do it. You hustle till you don't have to hustle anymore. Like that's all that really is for them.
Look, I'm tired of all y'all with this negative shit.
It's not being negative.
It's not negative. That's just
it's reality. Like
Post Up sent me his once he got his PlayStation 4. He UPS expressed me his "I will wood buff for Phil" T-shirt, and I got it on. It's nice and comfortable, and I'm tired of this shit. So
I'm saying right now, right? All jokes aside, it's gonna come up with a moment, right? Even the most diehard jokers, man. Like, bro, hey, listen, man, you don't understand. I done lost friends. So people I thought are friends over this. But me, this again, you know, for me saying, you know, being at cool, 343 over 600 employees now. They should be making more than one goddamn game. You know what I mean? You know, people still don't speak to this day. You know, but again, like, bro, it's like my question is, I would have a problem with like, what is the end game? We should, like, I see Halo Storm in the chat, so I guarantee you it's coming to the end. It shouldn't be a wait and what if it's coming. Yeah. And again, I don't care about games.
I don't understand
what I'm saying. You know,
this is what I don't get, Z. All right, and I was just fucking around. You know, I'm just trying to make sure that the people at Redmond still listen to us. So I'd be nice to them every now and again. But here's the thing, Halo Storm, and anybody that feels like that, and that's okay. If you feel like that, great. You know, maybe you're right and we're all wrong. But my question is, why are you guaranteeing stuff and you don't work at this goddamn company? Phil works there. Mike works there. I need the guarantees from them because you're not in Redmond. So your word means nothing to me. And this is
Burger King.
Burger King.
Here we go.
Oh my God!
I'm not gonna start. It's professional. I like the energy and tone of this show, so I'll keep it going. So,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
but hold on, I want to speak to that because I replied to Halo Storm. I know this game will come to Xbox. Aaron Greenberg's already said, due to the success, it'll probably go to other places. But he says places plural. I bet you as soon as this leaves PC, it's going to be announced for the Xbox One, the PS4, and probably your fucking phone. Yeah. That's the issue. It was PC exclusive, and then when it comes out of the PC, it's not even coming to the Xbox exclusively. It's going to be everywhere.
Well, let's do this. Let's jump on that right now. I was going to be nice and jump on some pro Xbox news, but we're here. So let's talk about it. This is hot off the presses, people. Big up to Showstopper in the chat. He said, that's it. I'm going pony now. Let me just say this. Okay, let's get everybody's thoughts on Minecraft going exclusive to PC. Hot off the presses. My man Nico said MM2K, this is going to be perfect for the show. And I said, I agree. Like, what is the message here? I got my synopsis and my theory, and then we had a conversation with Randolph Thor. He kind of shed light on what their execution is and why they're doing it. I still don't agree with it, but I know why they're trying to do this, but I want to get the panel's thoughts on this. Is this what type of message does this send? Having this new Minecraft, whatever it is, come exclusively to PC.
It gives a message that, here at Team Xbox, while we try to cater to our Xbox brand, and clearly we're trying to go back after the PC crowd that's actually already moved on. Like, I made this in my rant video that'll come out probably tomorrow or the day after, but at the end of the day, when Microsoft does this type of shit, it gives me a certain message that, like, the next generation, I don't have a second question to buying the PS5, but I do second guess if I should buy the next Xbox or take that $500 that Xbox would cost and buy a new graphics card. And you could say, MM2K, well, Neth, buy the new PC, buy the new graphics card. Microsoft gets your money anyways with that whole Windows shit, and you'll buy their games so they still get the money. But here's the flaw in the logic. Think about it. If I'm an Xbox consumer, I spend like $500 for new hardware. I spend $40 to $60 to get Xbox Live. I spend $120 because I pay $10 a month to get Game Pass. And then I buy all your games from your storefront, which you get a cut of each one. Now, if I go and buy it on a PC, I'm saying fuck the Xbox storefront. Screw the Windows 10 store.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell him.
No. Xbox Live, $46.
He had an extra shirt. He had an extra field shirt.
No. Post up. Let me finish and I'll let you go. Xbox Game Pass. I'm not going to pay $10 a month anymore. I'm going to buy that shit probably for $60 a year, and I'll go out of my way a little bit. But clearly, I'm still paying Microsoft, right? But I'm paying them a hell of a lot less now.
That's
the problem.
You know what? I'm not at that. Look, I still bleed green. I just added a little blue. That's all. we definitely for the top.
Blue and green is purple.
Look, Phil's been getting a lot of hate and question marks as far as what he's doing with that. I got faith that he's going to deliver. I got faith. I don't think Microsoft is going to repeat this gen next gen. I think XO18 is going to be a bigger event than what people expect it to be. I think we're going to get some prize announcements, maybe even the acquisition of Obsidian, also the acquisition of the developer that's creating Crackdown 3.
Oh God! Yeah. I'm gonna stop you there because you just said Crackdown 3.
No. I'm just saying.
My mouth.
I'm talking about the developers that may be a acquisition. I'm just saying, but I'm not at the point. I'm still going to invest. Look, I know people can go buy a $1,000 graphics card and build them a PC and do all, but everybody ain't got that know-how. I don't know. People say, well, they know somebody that know how to do it. Or they can have somebody to do. You finna go spend $1,000 on a graphic card. You finna go spend $500, $600, $700, $1,000, $1,500 on PC parts, and then pay somebody $200, $300, $400 to put that system together for you. Then only for you to sit there and how to go through YouTube to learn basic computer operations for some of these people out here who can't even find a power button on the PC nowadays.
I got something to say to that.
Look, man. Look, I know people get argument points. Some people just like the simpleness,
the ease of use of a console, right?
The simplistic to just come in, press the
now.
Pick up
let me go ahead and counter you, Post Up, and then I'll let Butter go because he's chomping at the bit. All the ease of use, guess what, Post Up? Like I said originally, I'm not second guessing buying a PS5. So that ease of use, it's going straight to Sony. Why bother with Xbox? If I'm only going to play like 2 to 3 games a year, I'm going to just play it on the PC and deal with that ecosystem for a little bit. I'll deal with Steam over the Win 10 store. And even the whole thing of Xbox, and we have a whole rant from a good podcast, which MM2K will play for us in a little bit. We have a whole rant. Yes, they might kill at this XO event. They might announce more studio acquisitions, but Microsoft planning to fire on all cylinders next generation, they still have 2 years to go. And this 2 years, it's only going to get worse and worse.
Well, I counter your point.
And more of my confidence.
I counter your point. I will hold off on the Steam store because right now, behind the scenes, they are rebuilding the Microsoft store from the ground up. I don't know when it's going to release, but they are rebuilding and overhauling that whole store. I don't know if it's going to drop this gen or next gen. So I'll hold off because they may fix a lot of the things that people have issues with. And I know they push people to Steam. If Microsoft can get that store together and at least offer some of the things that Steam does and make it easier for when you install games and not have issues, then a lot of people will stay put. But the way that store is now, it's a mess, and they push people to other.
But what is the
avenues
incentive to even use the store in the first place? All the games are Steam anyways, and they work better. And Steam is just a brand name.
Not all of the games are on Steam.
Like what?
There was more. Isn't there? When THQ released their last few games, it wasn't that a couple of.
Yeah, that was. Please don't do that because what are we doing here? Zoo Tycoon.
Oh my God.
Hey, your boy, Phil put his money bag on there.
Yeah, but I still got hope for the system that it kind of just took me in a whole nother direction. Like I'm gonna bleed green, and I guarantee, even if I have to take an L for XO18, and if it's not what it is or what I consider it to be, or even if I take an L for next gen, I'm going to ride this thing out with them.
Hey, before we let Butter go, I got my man, Mr. Righteous Fish said, "Post up out here singing "The Day Gonna Come" with his Bible in his hand." Oh man! Hey, Butter, what's your thoughts on that, man?
All right, so I have no doubt, like next generation, Microsoft is going to do their thing. They really are going to do their thing, but you got to understand the way Microsoft look at things is like 10 years from now, right? Yeah. The way technology advances, all these, Surface Pro, you can play certain games on those, and they looking at that like, yo, pretty soon kids are going to be so advanced. Like I'm telling you, the way the phone and the tablets are moving, that's what they're looking into. Like you looking at the consoles now, Microsoft is they already look past that.
I can agree with that.
They giving you these stuff now, but in the future, they know everything is going to be heavily computer based. Whether it's Surface Pro, like people are going to be walking around and able to play certain type of game, because all of these games is going to be outdated, and it's going to be easier to port all of these on a weaker hardware, and they heavily looking into that, like just moving forward in the future. That's why, like they kind of want to fade the Xbox, but they're not going to just do that now. But you're going to see what I'm talking about. That's why you getting what you're getting now. Where Sony, they kind of want to ride with the PlayStation, like they want to like trying to evolve the PlayStation as much as they can. Microsoft doesn't really care because for some reason they looking at a whole completely different market. They really are looking at a different market because as you can see, like a couple of years from now, like how fast like new AMD hardwares and things come out, they know all of this how things is gonna go like 10 years from now. They already planning for that kind of stuff. That's why when all of this shit is happening, like I'm not even gonna freak out because I kind of already know the direction that they chose. I'm comfortable with that. Like I don't really care per se. I mean, like I know this is what somebody in tech, like we talk about shit like this. Like, we always talk about like 5-10 years. That's what we talk about. We don't talk about 2 years because that's going to hit you like so fast. So we're always talking about like, what kind of system we're going to implement for this company. We're talking about like 10 years from now. That's what Microsoft does. Like they always look into the future. Like they already got their roadmap, but they just not going to tell you. Like
you could tell that with the OG Xbox One with the online, and that's where gaming is going because we got always online systems.
People are going to really be, but they was ahead
of the game back then.
Yeah, they're going to be playing games on like Surface Pro and shit. Like I'm telling you, you're going to have kids playing games on computers. Like it may sound like closed environment is simple, but that's to you guys. Like the kids now today, they can be on a computer. It's nothing to them. Like it's like they're born used to like how to like operate these machines already. And that's the thing like Microsoft look at because it may be like because we come. I mean, well, not me. Like you guys, like maybe a little older, but you guys are used to the console. But the kids today, they just know how to operate these things. So that's why they're gonna keep moving like to PC based. That's what they want to do because they figure like by 20 years from now, kids this generation are already going to be like used to all of this stuff. Like,
and that's fine and dandy, but I don't want to get to the point where they only focus on the PC and treat Xbox like the second fiddle, because at the end of the day, it's Xbox consumers that are paying more than that PC base. We're paying for the Xbox Live. We're paying to your games. Like we're buying games off your storefront, and we're dealing with the free-to-play policies of not being able to even play Fortnite without Xbox Live and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's Xbox consumer that pays more.
That's true.
So Z, we know that you love PC, that you want to you're shifting from console to PC. So this is a good idea, right? That this Minecraft is going to be PC-centric first, right? He's so excited he fell asleep. God damn.
Boss, you ain't.
Oh, this dude is he out.
He might got the mic muted. You know, he got the children on a birthday party or something going on. So let me say this. This is where post up. I thought you gave me the I love Phil Spencer shirt. You took it right back off me, or you had another one in the closet. Facts.
Let me explain something to you, bro. What Nethel said was 100% right. Was 110% right. Not just because he's my co-host, but just because he's Nethel's. Here's why I was right. If I got $500 to spend, right, and I got the choice, and I'm looking at Microsoft's console, and I got a beefy enough PC. 9 times out of 10, that PC is beefy because I play games on it. So if I got a choice between picking my multiplats on the PC on Steam opposed to the Microsoft store, regardless of what Microsoft does, I'm already acclimated to the Steam store. We've already seen what happened this generation with Microsoft coming out with the Xbox One X, even though it's selling well and people don't want to talk about that. But we've already seen where we thought the Xbox One X was going to pull people back, right? But it was too late because people were already acclimated to the PlayStation ecosystem. So if I'm already acclimated to Steam, what purpose do I have of doing Game Pass and all the other shit if I can just get my games off of Steam and they're already super cheap? I'm just going to get the Xbox. I'm going to get the Xbox exclusives from Xbox, play them on my PC. I'm not buying the console. And Microsoft is losing out in that deal because they're not getting the royalties from the multiplats. I think what you're thinking is because we're going to hit the 2.1 billion, we're going to do more than make up for that loss and potential revenue for multiplats because we're integrating things with the PC. But again, people are only going to try it if the hardcore are endorsing it. Well, if you're hardcore endorsing it, then you can forget it.
I disagree with that. No matter where the games goes or where they're being sold, Microsoft is going to get some type of money off of it. I mean, for fuck's sakes, these studios use Visual Studio to create these damn games. They use Havoc Engine. A lot of pretty much every developer in the industry use Havoc. They're going to get some residuals or some type of finances off these games, even if they're being sold from Steam. Microsoft is not just putting games on Steam and not putting themselves in a position to get some type of make back off that. Look, as long as you're buying the software wherever you get it and wherever you plan it, you're still investing into their ecosystem. That's the point where they're now. They don't care what hardware platform. Just like LeButter was saying, you can stream them Surface Books. If you got a Surface Book, all you need is an Xbox controller.
I can dig it, but how does that benefit me as being a console gamer?
That's okay.
Well,
it's not supposed to moving forward.
Yeah, I understand, but how does that benefit me as being a console?
We weren't just talking about the console. We was just talking about.
Listen, I don't care about playing games on my toothbrush or my motherfucking on my insulin.
Well, that negates everything they just said.
Hold on. I want Next Gen 720's take on this because post up over here with the Phil Spencer T-shirts over here.
I mean, that negates everything they just said. If we're gonna bring it back to console,
all right, no, not even the console. So Z, as a console, I'm gonna begin with that. Yeah. You understand that we spend $500 to buy the new hardware. We spend $60 to get Xbox Live. We spend maybe up to, even I'm doing it right now, $120 to get Game Pass. He pays, $10 a month?
Yes.
If I ended up just going PC, you lose the storefront where I'm buying stuff from your storefront. I'm not doing any of that anymore. So you're not getting that 10 to 20% off every game I already bought. That's gone. I'm not paying for Xbox Live anymore. That's $60 a year gone. I'm going to go out of my way and stop paying $10 a month for Game Pass and buy the whole thing for $60 a year. That's another $60 gone. Do you not see a problem with that?
Oh, Showstopper trying to get into.
Yeah, we send hey, Showstopper, follow me on Twitter, MM2K, and I'll send you the link, bro.
Follow me too.
So Z,
yes,
with your Geritol gulping ass, man, get off the console, man. It's a new era, bro.
Nah, it ain't, man. It ain't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit. At the end of the day, and I get it. You know, gaming is moving forward. Gaming is progressing. We're playing new ways, and I get it, right? I'm just an old school gamer at the end of the day, right? All that other extra stuff is good. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking those that like it. I've always said that, you know, I was one of the first guys that came out and said, you know, Xbox Play Anywhere wasn't going to be a big success. Know why? Because we're just two different consumers. The PC crowd and the console crowd. Those games that sell 25 million on PC, it's not the Assassin's Creed and this, that, and the other. They're the Dotas, the League of Legends, things that console guys are not really into. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Again, I've always said, I mean, you got, because to me, it's basically you're selling a product, some hardware. I know there's more money made on the software side of things, but if I have your box within my home, I'm going to buy other software on your box. You know what I mean? Exactly. Whether it's multi-plats or whatever the case may be.
No, they're not getting that 20% anymore. If I went to the PC and use Steam, that's what I'm trying to explain, Halo Storm, in the chat. We're not talking about buying Xbox exclusives on PC from the Steam store. I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about the multi-platform. We play 90% of the time, like we like to brag about.
The multi-platform.
You're losing all that revenue from me as a consumer. That's easily $100+ a year.
Let me say this real quick. I think we don't understand how this.
Other areas, but
I don't think we understand how this game is run. Okay, and Yoshida said it himself. He said that he only, out of every 10 exclusives, he only expects to make money out of what, 3, right?
Yeah.
The exclusives make people or help people want to buy the box.
Yeah.
After they buy the box and they play their 1 or 2 exclusives that come out for the year, the rest of the year they're playing multi-plats, and they make the most of their money off of the royalty fees off the multi-plats.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, Microsoft's strategy is strictly what? Exclusive heavy. Because if I got a PC, if you're trying to do all this integration with the PC and I already got a PC, I already got access to Steam. I'm not buying a multi-plat from you. I'm buying it from Steam. I'm getting it off of GOG. I'm getting it from CD. I'm going somewhere else. I'm not going to the Microsoft store, which is disgusting. All right. So Microsoft got to understand that if they're going to go head first into the strategy, they better have, number one, some strong exclusives. And number two, they better have better marketing to get that mind share. Because I don't care how good this is. If you don't have, there's been tons of good ideas put out there. But if you don't have great mind share, if you don't have good saturation, and you got to work on that now, not next gen. And I'm going to play a video that from somebody that we know, right, that focuses on this. If you don't get that work on that mind share right now, your 2.1 billion strategy is dead in the water, period. Anybody want to pick up on that?
As far as what? Far as, but here's the thing. I mean, we can talk about the same shit again until we blow in the face. I mean, as Xbox goddamn gamers, and if you're going to be honest about it, I should say, just looking at the last 2.5 years, we're not talking about some indie struggling fucking company. We're talking about Microsoft. There's no excuse. This is not their first time to the dance. This is their third generation. You know what I mean? This last 2.5 years to 3 years, whatever it is, has been horrible. You know what I mean? Now, and again, they are down. I guess they don't have anywhere else to go up, but is up. You know what I mean? They are making the right moves now, buying studios. I get it, but like I said before, I don't believe in giving credit for something they should have been doing already. You know what I mean?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm not going to give my daughter $20 for, your room should be clean. This the way I'm at with it. Like I said, it comes a time when everyone has their point, and it's like, when, like, enough is a goddamn enough. You know what I mean? Us, the console gamers, we spend more money. We keep this thing afloat. The PC gamers get shit free. You know what I mean? They get our exclusive day and dates. But we got to sit and play the what if game. And again, I don't care for those games. I'm not saying I want Age of Empire. I'm not saying that I want, but when is enough is a fucking enough. You know what I mean? My enough was goddamn Age of Empire. They had a better showing for a PC exclusive than they did for their own fucking console. You know what I mean? They launched their 500 goddamn console with fucking Zoo Tycoon Disney Rush. And I'm bugging the fuck out. I'm slipping the goddamn pony. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Big ups to the homie. Big ups to the homie. Showstopper for stopping by.
What's
up, bro? How you doing, man?
chilling, tired in the mug. But I said, let me join in here, better because I've been trying to join something Z been in all day. But I've been busy, man. But what's up with everybody? What y'all talking about?
The inevitable, the death of goddamn
Now, Showstopper, we're glad to have you. And this is our pilot of a new podcast where we're talking Xbox, good, bad, and different, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And we're hoping that we can get you one-on-one on the show in the future, right? So you signed your soul over to the show by coming in today. You didn't realize that.
No.
Secondly, you were on other podcasts a couple days ago, right?
Okay.
I was talking to the homie Mooch. You was trying to explain to the homie Mooch why you think that Microsoft's strategy is going to win. And to all credit to Mooch, Mooch had a response to you that I think was impactful. So I'm going to play that right now for everybody to hear, and then I want you to respond to it. I'm doing you like Tim Russell right now. Hold on 1 second.
Here's my question, though, and it really is a question because I don't. Yeah. Earlier in the show, we were talking about how when Xbox One X came, they sent one of the Xbox One X's to almost every YouTuber that has a major voice in the world. Okay, so they did everything from medium to high YouTubers. All the gaming networks got it. Everybody, okay? They're doing, like you say, they're doing their due diligence. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're very friendly to developers now. They're letting this and that happen. The problem is, Joe, the gamers and the users, the day after they open that box, and they're like, thank you so much, Microsoft. Thank you for sending me this. I really, really love it. They threw that shit behind them, and the next day they did their stream on the PS4. And this is where the problem is, because you can have all the Todd Howards, you can have all the YouTube people say all the nice things, but realistically, when it comes down to it, and they're still streaming the PlayStation, the users are still and listen, all the things that Microsoft has done, its infrastructure, no doubt, they're ahead of Sony. But the question is, how far? That we don't know. So if they're only a year ahead, and Sony's got people buying their boxes, streaming their boxes, showing them on YouTube, guess what? That gives Sony the year, 2 years they need to catch up. There's the problem. The thing is that's why when you said if Scarlett ends up being, or maybe it was Xbot who said if Scarlett happens to be slow, this is why I have a problem with what Microsoft's doing at the end of this generation. They are resting on coming out guns blazing next generation. Next generation is 2 years away.
Yeah.
You cannot wait 2 years and say, we're going to be great then. You've lost too many people.
Let me answer that.
Hello, did y'all everybody catch that?
Yeah.
Okay, so to your response to that, Microsoft is future-proofing themselves in the gaming community. You know, with the streaming and all that. Right. The question that was posed back to you is, hey, look, that's cool, that's dandy, but if they don't work on that mind share right now, and Microsoft and Sony's only a couple years behind in being able to follow what Microsoft is doing, Microsoft loses an advantage. Would you agree with that, and why or why not?
I will agree with that. Because Sony can turn things around rather quickly. You know what I'm saying? We have seen that with how they failed with the PlayStation 3. They came out they came out with a mistake and they turned that thing around come end of that console generation, and it kind of evened everything out. So it's not far-fetched that they can catch up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting here saying that. I think my question was, when I had came in there, I was talking more about the online rather than the single player games that Sony has. Sony has a lot of single player games. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And they had promised a lot of PlayStation games. This is why PlayStation gamers that they was going to give y'all an online experience, and they was going to invest in online gaming. Okay. And that's why y'all started off paying in the beginning. And once they realized, hey, that was not going, they canceled the subscription fee. They canceled everything that they started this generation off with because they was not going that route anymore. So now that, you know, they go in the single player route, like what they what they're going now, and this is what y'all have. So I was mainly talking. Hold on, let me finish my thought. I was mainly talking about the online structure and how they are very more than 2 years ahead of Sony right now when it comes to that. Sony is behind the ball when it comes to the online structure and things that Microsoft have in place going forward. You know what I'm saying? Because what's happening, and I know y'all pick at it, it's the ecosystem. I mean, what Microsoft is doing, they putting everybody on Windows 10. That's what they consider, and I had said this in the on the show. That's what they consider their platform. Yep. And then no matter if it's PC or whatever the case may be, they look at everything else tied to it that we play on as devices. They don't look at it as their platform. So when you have them talking about them building games for PC first, and you always build games for PC first. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if PlayStation, whoever, they always start with the PC and then everything else is trickled down from there. You know what I'm saying? So if they still going by that old boy system and it's still probably just one game, it's just really easy to port or easy to move over for the Xbox community. So I don't look at it the same way y'all look at it. I mean, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the best thing in the world, but it's all right. But go ahead. Go with you.
This is my question. Okay. Now, Post, you came out of a coma, a diabetic coma, but you've been on a 3.5 year hiatus, right? Now, again, I would hate to question your integrity, right?
Let's go.
We talk about online gaming or whatever, right? It's really real. You said Sony, and that is their strong suit. Is they have story driven, single player games. And again, I'm not going to deal with semantics here, or saying tomato, but they do have the Last of Us 2, which is huge for them, which outsold I think 17 million. And the Uncharted online, Street Fighter online, Gran Turismo online. But again, with Sony, again, kind of leans more on third party to deliver the multiplayer thing. But here's the thing: all that's well and good, but Microsoft online games haven't even been good. If you're gonna say that this is Microsoft's strong suit, this is their ace up their sleeve, they rule the online, whatever. They haven't even been good. Come on, State of Decay, Sea of Thieves.
Keep going.
Those are multi-plats. Let's keep it real. That's a multi-plat. Come on now. That's a multi-plat. That's a multi-plat. Come on now.
Wait.
Y'all love treating them games as exclusive.
State of Decay and Sea of Thieves.
Keep going.
I don't. Cool, but I'm just saying. But if you're gonna say that, okay, fine, the Xbox might be exclusive, but Microsoft, that's coming from Microsoft's first party, right? Microsoft's first party. That's where it's coming from. So that's what we had in the last 2.5 years. New games, Sea of Thieves. State of the goddamn Decay, right?
Okay.
All right. So unless I'm missing, I don't think I'm missing anything. That's been it. So if you're gonna Sony makes great single player story driven game, whether it's Detroit, God of War, Spider-Man. I get it, fine. Well, at least those are quality goddamn games.
Here's what I say to that though. Truth be told, when you make a lot of single player games, your strategy become repetitive. You know what I'm saying? So you need a variety. You need to go and venture out and do other genres besides single story driven games.
Can I say something?
You know what I'm saying? Because hold on, let me finish. What I mean, the fighting mechanics and everything becomes very repetitive. And so what they doing now, what Sony doing now with their games is kind of like what Telltale did with their games. It's a lot of prompts to perform actions. You know what I'm saying? And
so they're selling Spider-Man did 3.2 in 2 days.
That's understandable, but
But here's my point to this. I'm gonna pull this on Porter Rock.
Okay.
All right, before you go, Butter. So I'm gonna use Porter Rock. At the end of the day, Sony and Nintendo's strong suit is what is becoming the industry's weak suit, which is these single player games, because single player games are almost gone, Showstopper. I think you can agree to that they're moving towards games as a service, and that's where all the money is at. So Sony and Nintendo are the only ones providing the single player game. So I don't think that marketplace is going to die because Sony and Nintendo are what's going to be left. They're the only places you can go to get those experiences.
Yeah, and that's true. They're the ones that's pushing it. I'm sorry, bro, but they're the ones that's pushing it. But just like how everybody got tired of Mario. Eventually, you're gonna get tired of it if that's all.
We say they got tired of Mario, but that's just
everybody got tired. Everybody got tired of next gen. The first one to bailed out on that trash.
I don't play that.
Every year he bailed out, but Super Mario Odyssey sold 10 million.
Can I interject for a minute?
Yeah,
I interject for a minute?
I'm not gonna.
We said the same thing about the mind share when the OG Xbox came out. Well, we knew it was going to lose. We said the same thing about the 360 going into this gen as far as Microsoft having the mind share. And look how things turned out. When the new gen started, that shit started at zero. And whichever company offers what the gamer is looking for, that's where they're going to go. Man, share don't mean nothing right now because I was ushering in Microsoft to run this generation in with how well they did in the 360 era. Them E3s came around and everybody saw what each company offered and everybody went over to Sony.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
All right. So this whole notion everything is going to start off zero is fucking bullshit, to be honest with you. Right?
Thank you.
Now, hold on. Let's go. Technically, no, it's not. You know why? Because Sony fans already look. This is how human mind work, right? Everything that Microsoft did in the beginning, nobody fucking remembers. But people going to remember what Sony left them with. So it's an easy choice going into the next generation because their mind is still fresh what Sony did for them and Microsoft couldn't do at the end. That's all that's going to matter to them.
Wait. Hold on. I want to ask Butter a quick question before you retort, Post Up. Butter, like how we keep saying, games as a service is the new mantra. That's where the money's at. Your games live longer more than ever. So do you agree with me with my mindset in saying if the PlayStation 5 offers full backwards compatibility day and date, that could be a big motivator for people to move on because at the end of the day, instead of just starting from scratch, you're bringing all your games over and they just play better. It's like when we upgraded from the Xbox One to the X. It's just you're upgrading your console, so it's a lot easier for people to move on. It's hard to convince them to go to a whole new
That's what I'm saying.
PlayStation don't care about backwards compatibility. They don't buy new consoles to play old games. They don't buy new systems to play old games.
They buy a PS4
and the same PlayStation fans he's talking about was the same ones in the 360 era saying they'll never buy a 360 and most of them had
and all those people are fucking hypocrites.
Come on, now they're hypocrites.
The minority. Can I interject?
Can I finish my last part?
Go ahead.
Let's talk about it. Let's heat it up, baby. Let's heat it up.
What about you saying
hit that like button?
What about you saying how Sony games are repetitive? Now, I can counter, like, God of War is a perfect example. When they realize the game is repetitive, they go in a different direction. Horizon Zero Dawn is a perfect example. They got tired of Killzone and they changed. Sony doesn't just stick to one formula where Microsoft is scared to change. Sony will change if they have to. They've shown you plenty of examples is we're not afraid to change. We'll do what we have to do to keep our fan base happy. And that's why Microsoft fans are jumping boat because they sick and tired of fucking Gears, Forza, and Halo. It did not going to change the formula. Sony will change the formula.
Here's what I say to that. They did change the formula, but they changed the formula to everything's looking and playing like Uncharted. It's the same style. If you go across, if you go from Uncharted to The Last of Us to Horizon Zero Dawn to everything like that. These are all
so God of War plays like Uncharted 4?
God of War does not play nothing like that game.
That's not what y'all missing. What I'm saying. It's the same style.
I got your question.
I see what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
It's the same style for every game. So when
it's successful, isn't it?
Regardless,
other people are copying. Like Tomb Raider is copying the same style.
But listen, Tomb Raider been doing it before Uncharted. Let's not stop that stress. Yes, they was. Stop it.
How?
This type of Tomb Raider is a fresh reboot. No,
Uncharted started as Dude Raider, but at the end of the day, Tomb Raider ended up copying Uncharted style in its reboot.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, it did.
No, Tomb Raider started the genre, bro.
Tomb Raider started the genre, but Tomb Raider ended up copying Uncharted and its reboot.
No, Indiana Jones started the genre.
Tomb Raiders are nothing like Uncharted right now.
Let me ask you a question, Show.
Okay.
Maybe look at this, right? You said that Sony's doing the same type of games, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's working for me. I don't think Spider-Man is nothing like God of War.
No. That's it. You're missing what I'm saying. When I'm saying, I just named the games.
You said
I know he's talking about it.
I just named the games without saying the presentation.
Okay.
I'm not saying the story. I'm not even saying the little changes that they do with the action stuff.
Is it working?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
for right now, it is. Yeah.
Okay. I don't. A great game is a great game, but again, what the hell is Microsoft doing? Sea of Thieves.
I'll see.
State of Decay.
Hold on, no.
I ain't done. Zoo Tycoon.
No.
Disney Rush.
Hold on. Let me do this because we have to clear this up. Because on Twitter, since Forza Horizon 4 has got in the 90s, everybody's calling it a multi-plat. But when it comes to Microsoft exclusives, everybody want to use Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, Zoo Tycoon, which is also multi-plats. Come on, fuck nigga, we not about to do that, Z. We're not about to do that.
Was I doing that?
Hold on.
Was he doing that?
But let me answer the Zoo Tycoons. Why we keep bringing up Zoo Tycoons?
They remastered it last year.
When PlayStation got a dang on GTA Dog Edition on their dang on their console, man. Look up. Somebody use their screen share and show home free. That's let's look at this trash.
The difference is, PlayStation isn't pushing home free. They're pushing Spider-Man.
I wonder what y'all gonna say about Dream.
Let's look at the trash, though.
Okay. Does Sony have? Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. Does Sony have dog shit games? Absolutely. But
plenty of them.
They have, but they have. Listen,
they don't have some.
All right, but they have great. Okay, they have great games to go along with it. We haven't had any goddamn great game for 2.5 years. No.
I hear you.
It's true. That's a fact.
Well, I hear your pain though, but it's all good. That's what the purpose of having both consoles.
I guarantee y'all next gen, everybody's already gonna be going to PlayStation. There's no restart. Y'all living in that La La Land state in it and see what happens. I'm telling y'all.
Niggas don't give a fuck. The same thing about the 360. They can I with this generation.
Let me say this. Let me say this. Damn, Z got so mad he done left. I think. Is he still there? You still there, Z?
He left.
Oh, he left. God,
hey, that's how it happens when shows show up. You know how
now you done sold your soul to the show. You done got the leader. You done made him leave. Here's the deal.
I want to break my legs again.
I want to rebut two things. First and foremost, I want to rebut this notion that PlayStation gamers don't care about old games. They care about old games. Right. PlayStation suffered last generation because they turned their back on old games. Remember when the PlayStation 3 came out and you could play your PlayStation 2s on it on the PlayStation, what was that, the OS Fat version?
Yeah.
That in combination with them getting rid of the other software is what caused the 30 million hack, what caused a whole bunch of shit for Sony and had them change.
But that was a hardware change because they had the PS2 chip in there and they took it out.
There was the SoC chip. They had the SoC chip in with a system on a chip. They had that in there.
And
but what shot Sony in the foot? This is why y'all have like PlayStation Now. Not is that what it is? The little gaming service, PlayStation Now, and they trying to do the emulator thing. Sony shot themselves in the foot with the cell processor.
Yeah, the cell processor.
It's hard to
replicate,
emulate that on an 86 architecture from what it was and that was already hard to develop for that cell processor. It took developers a long time to learn how to master that. That's why Sony went this route with the PlayStation Now. They went the route with the trying to emulate the PlayStation 1 because that's the easier port to emulate. So their answer to backwards compatibility was the SoC chip. And you know what I'm saying? And because y'all didn't want to pay for it and they got a whole lot of slack for it in the beginning of the PlayStation 2 era, they had to take it out so they won't go that way no more. And emulation is hard to do. Yoshida came out and he said backwards compatibility is very hard to do because it takes time, it takes money, and it takes a whole lot. So their fix was what y'all have right now. That is y'all backwards compatibility. You see what I'm saying?
For the cell processor. But no, the PlayStation, and even though this is an Xbox podcast, the PlayStation people, they cherish backwards compatibility. That's why the PS Mini pre-orders were sold out within 24 hours.
Gotcha.
So we got to get out of that notion, because what Butter's saying actually has some weight to it, because if Microsoft don't work on that mind share now, you know what I'm saying, and they wait till next gen, these people could already be in the mindset of, I'm getting a PlayStation 5.
Gotcha.
Okay. I forgot the second notion. So with that being said, let's actually get to one topic. Can we get to one topic and then we go? we get to no goddamn topics. Let's see here. All right. Let's throw out some good news. Forza Horizon 4. All right. 90 plus Metacritic game. Last time I checked, it was 92. Is it still 92?
It's still 92. All
right. It's getting accolades, excuse me, goddamn, all across the board. Great game. The best racer out there, you can argue, bar none. But in my conversation with Randolph Thor, while he was on other podcasts, he mentioned that it's sad for a lot of people that our best game is a racer, because a lot of people consider racers niche. Mm-hmm. I want to get the panel's thoughts on that. Should we not even worry about the whole niche thing and just say, look, let's celebrate a great game? This is positive news for Xbox, or does Randall have a point? Let's start with Showstopper.
I mean, listen, it's a great game. I like the Forza Horizon series. I'm not a Forza fan, but I like the Horizon series. Okay. So that game in itself is just a great game. It's and I just think you should just let it be what it is. It's the only racer out right now. If it had competition, I don't know what would happen, because people would be comparing it. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's no competition for it right now. So it's a great racer. It's the best racer out on the market. Why not? Let it be.
Who want to pick that up?
Yeah, go ahead.
I do.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's always good to celebrate a good game. Forza Horizon, even if I'm not that into racers, it's a quality title. It should be celebrated. And the fact that I got that 92 Metacritic means it's probably going to be a good game. Doesn't guarantee it's going to be a good game, but it's probably going to be. But to Randall Thor's point, I think it could be sad that our only good game is a racer, but and another aspect, it could be almost a good thing in some aspects, because let's think about it. Playground games, out of everyone Microsoft works with, I think they've always had the most freedom. They've had the most freedom to do whatever the hell they wanted with Forza. I think they're the ones who pitched Horizon even, and they clearly use their independence. They clearly use their freedom to make a great game, and maybe that should be Microsoft's inspiration to let these developers, let these studios just go out and do what they do. They are artistes, as Next Gen 720 says. They can make great games. Stop being over their shoulder. Let them do what they do, and you probably will get a fantastic product when you have the talent, aka what we have with Playground Games.
Hey, you know what? That's what I think Phil Spencer did come out and say he backing up off of them, and he giving them freedom, creativity. So that's a good thing.
Post up. I know you still got your Will Dance shirt on.
What was the question?
Look at this dude. You stop scrubbing Phil's back, okay? And you on the podcast about Phil scrubbing his back.
Post up.
Experiment isn't that great. Swing to the left.
Post up was trying to find some ammunition. He's surfing the web, bro. That boy, I heard the clicking going on in the background.
So the question was, Mr. Post Up.
I'm telling the truth. That's why he laughing. I'm just playing with you, man. I'm fresh off the dome, bro. I ain't going through all that trash.
No, I'm off the dome too, man. This easy work, man. What was the question?
The question was, all right, so we got Forza Horizon 4 that's out there. It's getting accolades across the board. I've even seen PlayStation fanatics on Twitter saying, you know what, I had to do it. And they're getting the Ultimate Edition, all types of stuff. However, we had Rand on the Scram Punks podcast earlier in the week. Rand said, it's a fantastic game. He loves it, but he said, as far as speaking to what Xbox is producing exclusively, it's sad that our best game is a racer, because it's considered by many a niche title. Now, with that being said,
I wouldn't say it's niche. It's not niche.
Okay.
I think the racing genre is niche, though.
I wouldn't say Forza Horizon.
The genre's niche. I'm bad.
Yeah, we're talking about the genre, not the specific game.
I said that wrong. The reference was made into genre. It was specifically said a racing title is our best game. Now, what are your thoughts on that post up then Butter? Like, does Rand have a point, or do you think that that's irrelevant? Doesn't matter. It's a 92 Metacritic game. We need to focus on that.
I mean, I think he was talking in the context of the state of Microsoft now, not Microsoft overall and what they have been putting out from past. Right now, in their current state, in terms of if you care about Metacritic, in terms of the Metacritic scores that have been given, Forza Horizon has been consistent. I mean, it started off into the 80s, and from each game, 84 to 86 to 91 to 92, that we got now. Look, the game is an awesome game. It runs beautiful. It's smooth and everything. 4K, 30 frames, 1080p 60. It's running at damn near max ultra settings. On the quality side, on the quality mode, I mean, you got to give the game what it is. Playground Games is an awesome studio. In terms of the exclusives that they putting out now, or haven't been, or their lack of, yeah. I mean, I like Forza Horizon 4. I'm not a racer type dude. I know people that love that genre, so to me, I can agree with them because that's not the type of genre or game that appeal to me the most, even though I got it, even though I will play around with it, but I probably would not put as much time into Forza Horizon 4 that I have into Gears of War 4. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
You feel me? So I see from his perspective, like, yeah, that's I mean, I agree with him.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Butter?
All right, I mean, let's be honest, right? We all knew that game was going to be good. Like, I knew it was going to be in the 90s, right? But I do have to agree with Rand because in today's day and age, racer, like, it shouldn't have to come down. Me personally, it just shouldn't have to come down to a point where everybody is cheering on Forza to try to save.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem with a lot of like hardcore. It's like we're really cheering this game on to save us.
Yeah.
Like, there's not any other games like Gears, any of that stuff. Like, because when we're talking about gaming, like, that's just me. I'm not looking at racers. Like, I'm not a big fan of racers. Like, even if I was, it's not something I'll be excited about because I'm looking across the street. They got like, I mean, Spider-Man got an 80, God of War got a 90, and it's just like, damn, like, and I'm sitting over here looking at Forza, like something that I don't even know. I know deep down I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to boost about it because it's all I got to boost about.
So you saying, Butter, there's a lot of people out here frauding, clapping like a baby seal for Forza, and they ain't gonna run near lap. Yeah,
they not. They don't even give a fuck about it. But it's all they got to hold on to.
Yeah.
Like, so it is. That's what Rain is trying to say. Like, it comes down to this point where you got to rely on a game that you don't even like, never even probably played.
Wow.
So,
gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Microsoft do need to step it up. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens.
The crazy thing about Microsoft and next generation is the type of games they can make. Right? Is just like, honestly, I just feel like the students make the games that they want to make and not tell them what to make. Because when you tell somebody what to make, like, that's the problem. Like, don't tell them what to make. Just let them make what they want to make. It usually is better that way. And I think that's always been their problem. Yeah, because you're assigning people like, hey, this is your homework. I want you to make these games. That's a problem for them because some of them,
you know what?
Let me pause right there. Let me pause right there for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
World Showstopper just said that Xbox need to step his game up. I don't want y'all jumping off the bridges, Xbox people. Okay, just relax. I know. Halo still. You all right, bro? Do I gotta call Crisis Hotline? Okay.
Threatening you, man.
Oh no, they ain't gonna do that to the show because they know I ain't going nowhere.
No, go ahead. I'm just messing with you.
I wanted to say this. I wanted to chime in on what he was saying. You know what Microsoft did, and I could talk because this is my brand.
Yeah.
What they did is they went and invested money into buying up everything. Just like, for instance, the beloved Spider-Man that y'all love and adore. They bought the Havoc engine, which is the physics engine that y'all use for that game to enjoy it. So when Microsoft went and did all that, it sacrificed somewhere. The sacrifice had to come somewhere, and it came through our games. You know what I'm saying? And but they're making money on the back end off you ponies though.
Yeah, all the Havoc and all that stuff.
Havoc, and they bought many. When I say they bought a bit, this is what I was trying to tell.
But that's sad though. How you buy an engine and your own people can't even enjoy that shit?
This is what I'm saying. I mean, but I don't know what they got going forward, but I know what they did. They made an initial investment and they made a sacrifice to purchase all this stuff to corner the market, and that's basically what I was telling Mooch on that podcast. I was telling him that, what they did, they cornered the market. Pretty much. They bought everything. It's only 2 physics engines out there. I think one is by Intel and it's the Havoc engine. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Halo Storm brings up a good point in the chat, and we're not to pick on Halo Storm, but no, he's bringing up some good points, some good passion from the Xbox enthusiast side. I just want to address it, and then I'm going to let Nethos pick the last topic. Go rewatch Microsoft's E3 again and tell me the passion isn't there with a straight face. You can't. That's quoting Halo Storm. Halo,
the passion is there. Look, man, this is a lot of people don't want to accept the fact that internal changes was the effect of us going through this drought. And people say, well, it's Microsoft. They're $1 trillion company, and isn't that they shouldn't have.
Even with $1 trillion company, they got a budget.
You feel
they got a budget.
If even with $1 trillion company, you still being told what you can spend and how much you can spend. You have no control over that. And I know people want to give that control to Phil and everything, but he had no control. That man had the answer to somebody, and he had an answer to somebody that didn't like the Xbox division, and that took money from it, took the budget from it, and from what I heard, and Z noticed too, because he was in the same hangout after the show that we got all this info. It was more games than what we know got canceled. Yeah. As far as a lot of people want to point at Scalebound, it was games that they didn't even announce got canceled. From what we heard, if people knew how many games really got canceled, people would be way pissed than the reaction of Scalebound getting canceled. So if that many games got canceled, that means a whole budget was stripped from under you.
And then look at it from here. They really went and stripped down all their studios. Remember, they got rid of a bunch of studios. Man, they start stripping that trash down like one by one. And don't get me wrong, it was being done on both sides because Sony was doing it too.
Yeah,
but it was just crazy at that time.
I read an article. About when the new CEO came in, he didn't know nothing about gaming.
Right.
But
talking about Nadala.
Yeah, Nadala. But it was a lot of people inside of Xbox, even board members, even investors that wanted to get rid of Xbox.
Yeah.
They wanted to get rid of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
They've been fighting that since day one, though.
Facts. That's what I was saying about from the OG. They've been
from the OG from day one.
Bill them didn't even really want to do it.
They sure didn't.
So I'm gonna say this. Let me say this real quick, Nethos. I'm sorry. Let me say this real quick. So I don't doubt everything that was just said to a certain degree. Phil is not the CEO. Okay, he's the head of a division, and even back then, he was the head of a very small division that did not have a seat at the big boys table.
Right.
And yes, he was given a budget and he can't go over the budget. And even people that are in charge of areas like that, you have to stick to your budget or it's going to cause a lot of problems for you. I agree. Here's what I don't agree with. I think that we're putting that focus on the wrong people, and we're saying, like, I'm gonna just start out Terry Myerson was cutting that budget, and now that Terry Myerson's going, everything is okay.
I'm just saying, period.
Well, yeah, and this is the problem. I think Terry Myerson was just putting a gauntlet to things that he was getting the notion from the CEO, who is still there. Hence why we're not getting VR now. You know what I'm saying?
Terry still there?
Terry's gone.
Thank you. But I will say this though: they gave Donnie D $1 billion in his gen. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, Phil got more than that.
Sure.
I guarantee you, he got. Look at the rate that they are growing at. Mm-hmm. They felt that by the end of the year, they're going to have hired over 600 plus developers. Ninja Theory working on multiple games. Playground, they saying working on 3 different games. They got 3 different studios. Rare is working on multiple games. I don't tell them what 343. Look at the rate that they're growing at, and they're about to announce more acquisitions. I guarantee you, he got a bigger bag than Donnie D, and we gonna see it next gen.
Yeah, and that's exactly the last word you just said. Next gen is what
this gen is over.
Hey,
this gen over.
Let's be real. We got about another 2 years of this generation. There's about another 2 years, probably.
Here's what I say to that. I'll have to play the let's wait and see, because I don't think they're gonna just wait until the 2 years is up. We're gonna get something within that time. They can't wait until these 2 years is up. I believe they're going to show some stuff. You know what I'm saying? But we just have to just wait to see what that is. I don't know if it's going to come at this XO or if it's going to come at E3, but either way, it's going to be something.
Sony put stuff in people's hands late last gen. Now, the last gen, it was over, and the gap was nowhere near big as it was, and Sony went all out late last gen.
It sure did.
See, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, because they playing with people's mind. It's like, it's a psychology thing. People will always remember the bad the most, and they will always remember the last thing you tend to do for them. And that's what Sony is rotting off. The last thing they're going to remember is Microsoft ain't give a shit, and Sony give us something. So it's easy for me to make my decision, because my mind is still fresh when I walk into GameStop to remember everything that Sony had done for me and what Microsoft.
And though Sony made ended that gen strong, people were still looking forward to Microsoft conference.
Yeah, it sure
and
was.
That's when it fucked up.
No. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Look. Don't get me wrong. People are always going to look to see what Microsoft is doing. But as far as making a decision on the spot, the diehard fans, right? Sony's sitting on 80 million users, right? Out of that, maybe 30 million could be a diehard fan. So that's already 30 million that's going to already buy their stuff. So they already going to have a big jump. But the other ones might be on the fence, but they're going to remember, all right, it's a tough choice, but I do remember Sony giving me something. It might just edge them out to go out.
But everybody loves the underdog. Everybody loves the underdog story.
Everybody loves the comeback.
Everybody loves that comeback.
Don't get me wrong. But they're not going to wait. They will buy the PlayStation and see what the Xbox is going to do. But it doesn't matter already, because they already bought a PlayStation.
I'm going to tell you something. To get that notion, and I'm going to tell you, that notion from when Microsoft revealed what Donnie D did is still embedded in a lot of gamers' minds.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So let me tell you, it's embedded in a lot of. It took Sony a long time when they did their DRM thing with the rootkits and everything. It took them a long time to get out of that company is trying to get over. You know what I'm saying? Notion, and they not for you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think a lot of stuff is what Microsoft had to do. They have to rebuild. So what they did, they just tried to buy up everything to where you have to deal with them now. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They took the to where the manipulation can be taken away from them. You know what I'm saying? You have to deal with them now. You know what I'm saying? And that's scary. You know what I'm saying? Because now Sony got them. They force Sony to work with them. They're forcing everybody to work with them now.
Yeah, and that's a genius business move.
That's why I say it was a sacrifice that they did. It cost us games, but at the end of the day, this is where it's at.
Yeah, and exactly. They cost us games and so on.
It cost us games.
This is my only thing with you guys. I don't get how we're so quick to make fun of Donnie D and stuff, and he deserves it. He did a lot of fucked up things. He did the dumbest fucking things. But you guys have such a hard time admitting there's a lot of faults with Phil Spencer. I'm not saying make fun of it. No. I don't want to hear the damn. I'm not saying make fun of him.
Hey, Neff. No. Is this Neff? Hold on. Post up. Neff, you must be. Hold on.
Xbox game with torches.
Hey, Neff.
What?
You must be new to me, bro, because I always held Phil to the fire, bro. What is you talking about?
Look,
okay, maybe Donnie you did. But I know Post Up over here has a Phil Spencer T-shirt on.
You about to show up in front of your door with torches and shit.
Donnie had the 360 era juking. You know what I'm saying? But I will quote Butter now. You always remember by the last thing you do. What you did at the beginning or in the middle of the era doesn't matter. It's what happens at the end. And that one decision that he made with the Xbox One fucked up everything he did with the 360. Because
I'm not negating that. I'm not saying Donnie D was a good guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
No, I'm not saying he is a good guy. I think he fucked up everything. But the thing is, how he fucked up everything, I feel Phil Spencer has fucked up quite a few things, but we have such a hard time admitting that.
How do we know? How do we know what
Showstopper said?
Hold on.
In order for him to get the Havoc engine and shit, we had to sacrifice game.
That Havoc engine was brought when Phil wasn't even in power.
Phil was in power.
Phil was in power.
Post Up, you need to stop brushing things under the rug.
I'm not brushing things under
fucked up things.
I'm not brushing. I'm not.
Yes, you are. You always refuse to admit it was Phil.
That Havoc move was marvelous. Let me tell you something.
It is marvelous,
but you know something. Halo Storm made a good point. Phil did have to clean up a lot of Donnie D's mess.
He did.
We don't know.
But he ultimately plenty of messes himself.
Listen. That's why he gets a pass. You see what I'm saying? Because he's cleaning up their mess. He had to go through a lot. We still haven't seen what
the whole image.
We still have not seen what his vision is.
That's what I'm talking about. And we're not going to see it until next gen.
You guys can say that, right?
You got to give Phil a 4 gen and judge him by that.
And he came in mid this gen though. So yeah.
Hey, Showstopper, who is Phil Spencer?
He's the head of the game.
Is he your best friend, Showstopper?
No, he's not.
Is he your friend at all?
No.
Then why? And Post Up, why am I going to give him a generation? I gave him 4 years. Why am I giving him 4 more?
Because Donnie D was bringing them money.
And just like I make fun of Donnie D, why are you
all I'm saying is that Phil hasn't. All I'm saying is this: we don't know what Phil vision is. We don't know what direction he's trying to take it in. You have to.
I don't know what his division is after 4 years. I'm not willing to wait another 4 years.
I'm just saying, when this next gen kick off, everything will be all Phil. You ain't gonna be able to attribute none to Donnie D.
Look, I forgot where I read this out. I forgot where I read this at, but that was the goal that Xbox already had, was to combine everything and put it across PC and different platforms. They always had that in mind. I think that came from the head down because that's the only way they was going to keep the gaming division.
The end goal, so they had to go.
He had to go with
it. Can we? I think we need to stop something here. I think to Neithel's point, we need to stop something. All right. We act like that Phil Spencer
here they go.
is the only wartime soldier out there that he's been beaten, whipped across his back like 12 years a slave and Morton salt thrown all on his back. Like he the only one that suffered out here. Xbox executives always had to deal with the higher brass not believing in the gaming division. You even had Peter Moore and them that had to deal with the fact that the system had a 60% failure rate and they had to drop $1 billion on the console. You know what I'm saying? All of them had trials and tribulations. Phil Spencer had Phil Spencer's been in charge since 2013.
No,
this is 5 years later.
2014.
He came a year later.
4 years later. He has now had the biggest seat and any Xbox executive has ever had because now he has a seat at the big boys table. If we don't know Phil's vision right now, then I think that is a flaw of Phil's. We should not have all this money being dropped on studios and all that other stuff, and we don't know where they're going.
And the reason I keep bringing up how like I find it weird that we can't make fun of Phil Spencer and stuff like that. Showstopper, you probably haven't called Phil out. I'm sorry I called you that there. But post up, he clearly damage controls for Phil. And at the end of the day, these Sony guys, they weren't damage controlling for Yoshida when the PlayStation didn't have games out. They weren't over saying like, well, you see, Sony has to sell all these buildings and shit. That was Xbox guys saying that shit. And look where Sony is now.
Do y'all remember when Yoshida and them had to apologize to everybody after the PS3 got hacked and they made a promise to like not let shit like this happen again? They meant that shit. Like, yo, I'm telling y'all, I had nothing against Phil, right? Look, Donnie D and them, they fucked up, but they still managed to push game out the door, right? When the PS3 got hacked, right? I was on the PlayStation before I was like, fuck this shit, because y'all ain't giving me shit before I went on the Xbox, right? At the end of the day, it's not like Sony stopped and say, look, let's just revamp everything. No, their main focus was try to push the game out. We got to deal with all of this hacking shit, but we still got to remember the fan base has something to play. And that's my biggest problem with Xbox. You're trying to revamp, but you're not giving fans game, because that's the problem. We keep saying games. I don't give a fuck about how you fixing Donnie D. You got an executive and all of these people behind you. Your main priority should be, look, we're going to fix that. But push
somebody ordained this man. Like, we're here in the holy grail right here.
You can't.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Giving y'all games because I gotta fix Donnie D's problem.
Oh no. We get games like Dedicate 2. We get games like Sea of Thieves. The only good game was Forza Horizon 4.
Like, I don't give a fuck how you're gonna fix his problems. At the end of the day, make sure you gave me fucking games, because that's why I bought the console for, because I wanted to see game. That's not my issue what Donnie D did. That's Microsoft issue. As a consumer, give me my fucking games. PlayStation managed to push out games when they got fucking hacked, right? They almost went out of fucking business, but they still kept pushing games. Microsoft is almost worth a fucking $1 trillion. You're going to tell me you can't push out a game because you got to fix one man's mistake? Like, I don't want to hear that.
You know what? When they was going through them hard times, Sony was in this console generation. You know, they lived off of indies and multiplats and remasters. That's what they lived off of.
You guys made fun of them.
Yeah, but that's what they lived off of. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to give Sony a pass, but this is what's crazy though.
Well, hold on. Let me finish my thought. So what I'm saying is, you have times where it's slow like that. I mean, Microsoft came out and they was prompt to, they had better games. You know what I'm saying? A lot of better exclusives than what Sony had at the time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Early on in this first 3 or 4 years, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? So what Sony did, they sat back, they took their lumps. You know what I'm saying? They took the complaints, they took everything, then they start putting out game stores like right now. But you got to remember, a lot of this stuff they pushed back. A lot of it was pushed back. Some of it they probably just didn't even announce until it was time. But some of this stuff was pushed back. And we're reaping the benefits. We're reaping the benefits of Sony delays. You see what I'm saying?
You're right. And
rather than they're actually putting out stuff fresh and new. A lot of stuff been announced.
Horizon Zero Dawn isn't new.
I mean, it's new. What I'm saying, but have it been delayed?
I mean, does it matter if it's delayed? It's still out.
I'm not saying. I mean, what I'm saying to you though, if it came out when it's supposed to, then we would have a different conversation than what we have now.
See, but that's my thing though. Even though Sony was going through that, they didn't go around canceling games. Like, that's what's bugging me about Microsoft, because like you said it yourself, they made sacrifice. How is it that Sony almost went fucking bankrupt but didn't make sacrifice, but they still focus on putting money on these studios to make games? Even we all benefited, but damn, they've been fucking hacked like on some crazy shit. But somehow to even come out to this day to like keep putting money on these games, and you're telling me that Microsoft went out and canceled a whole bunch of fucking game because Donnie D screwed up all of this. I'm like, yo, honestly, that's my biggest problem. I'm not understanding, like, not even a single game you guys could have pushed out. Like, at least 4 or 5 games. That's all we asked for. At least 3 games. But you didn't push nothing out. You really didn't push nothing out. That's the biggest problem.
Let's not act like Xbox didn't delay a bunch of stuff. Sea of Thieves was delayed all the time.
Oh, yeah.
There's been plenty of games delayed. It doesn't matter as long as their game is good.
To you though, like early on, a lot of the stuff was announced. I'm not saying Horizon.
They gave you a roadmap.
They gave you a roadmap, but everybody was they gave out saying they said 20. Say for instance, it was 2014.
Yeah.
And I can't think of an exclusive it was, but they said the game was coming out then. That game didn't come out until almost 16. You see what I'm saying? So if you're going to tell your gamers, hey, this game is coming, that's why Sony took off and they said they're going to stop announcing. Well, they didn't say it. They just took it off. Now they just give you a vague answer. So it can come 19. It can come 22. You don't know. You know what I'm saying?
But you know it's coming. That's the key aspect.
And that's a good thing. But, you know, what Microsoft did, they only announcing things that's coming out yearly.
Yeah, I mean, is that true, though? Because Sea of Thieves was announced really early. Crackdown 3 was announced really early.
No, they were announced early. And
it
got delayed, which was like a few months.
So what? Horizon Zero Dawn was delayed a few months?
Yeah, that's the same thing. But, you know, at the end of the day, Horizon Zero Dawn was announced a year or two earlier, though.
I think
it doesn't matter when the game is announced. It matters if the game comes out and if it's good.
I think what the problem is, the show, I mean, brings up a good point. I mean, there was some shenanigans played by Sony.
It was a whole lot. I mean, I'm not supposed to defend that trash. It was a lot of stuff that they was doing. It was weird.
Well, and even Sony was doing some shenanigans because they looked at their lineup. I think they looked at the possibility of what was coming out from Microsoft. They saw the writing on the wall and they said, hey, let's push Horizon Zero Dawn back and press it and push the whole game narrative. I get that. But the problem is, I think the reason why the consumer public was a little bit more forgiving of them was because that those games were there, like Nethel said, and you could see their roadmap. And the problem with Microsoft is we don't know what their roadmap is. We don't know what type of games they're going to produce. And they're so cryptic and they're holding everything to the chest. And it's not, and I get it. It's because Scalebound got canceled and some other things happened with Crackdown that they don't want to be transparent.
And that's what I want to also add up on that specific note is what the biggest issue is, because when Sony is developing a game and they tell you about it, every time they announce about the game, it's a progress, right? You see gameplay, you know they getting close to releasing that game. But when it comes to Microsoft, everybody is like at the edge of their seat because it's just never on shore, especially with Crackdown. It's like you come out and show this the next thing. Oh, now we got to change everything. So, and then you come out, then there's no multiplayer. So people are just like, yo, what's the message? Like,
I mean, look at Fable Legends. You literally were playing Fable Legends and it got canceled.
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is, though, and this is an element that y'all sleeping on that's been happening this whole console generation. Sony gets a pass on a lot of their stuff, no matter what it is. Microsoft have not got one pass by the media, not one.
But you know what's funny about that too? I'm not gonna lie. When the 360 was beating the shit out of the PS3, the media was also behind Microsoft. But it happens, right? Whoever is winning, the media is going to talk about because you want to talk about the negative because the views and rating and all of that shit. Like I knew that there was going to be on Sony's, nuts the moment Sony started winning.
But but even if Microsoft did do something right, it was still wrong because they found something to nitpick on it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem. That's the problem because what happened, the media found when Don Matrix did his thing, media was hell bent on making sure Microsoft failed. They was hell bent on that. They kept going out no matter what. They kept going out to where it became a thing to make money off of. You know what I'm saying? So now it's clickbait. It's a whole lot of clickbait stuff. If Sony announced something good, it's clickbait articles talking about it in a bad light. You see what I'm saying? And it's just a whole lot. And everybody, the media runs with it because of the hate that they have. That's what I'm talking about.
And then this is what I want to say. This, if I'm Phil, right? Because look, this is just me. I do feel like Phil does spend a lot of time online and read. So he always feel the need to come out and address that shit. That's what bugs me out. Stop trying to fucking address clickbait and all of that dumb shit. You don't see Yoshida on Twitter trying to fucking say shit.
He was at the beginning. He was at the beginning until he got tired of it because he was
exactly. That's what Phil needs to understand. It's like, listen, just do you, right? Just keep pushing it because the media is gonna always trying to fuck with you. They live off that shit. Like once you do something bad, They're gonna always nitpick everything you do. Just
Yoshida was like, "I'm too old for this."
that's what Phil used to do.
He said, I'm gonna take out my teeth and eat my cantaloupe. I ain't gonna.
Oh shit! Hold on.
You got
goddamn near one in the
sitting here
morning.
enjoying sitting here enjoying my rock candy.
Hey, Nathan, did you want to hit one more subject?
Yeah, this is what I wanted to hit on because we're talking about Phil Spencer and Yoshida now.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let Showstopper actually take this one because I want his take on it. So, what do you think is the key difference between management at Microsoft and Sony? What is the key difference between Sony managing games and Microsoft managing games?
The difference is the marketing.
The marketing?
The marketing. What I mean, Sony markets their games a lot better than what Microsoft does.
Okay.
They put out a lot of content. What I mean by no matter what you turn on, like if you a gaming channel, 9 times out of 10 you got something Sony going on.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. If you on Facebook, you'll see a lot of Sony things just pop up in your feed. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're marketing for us their games and different things of that nature. It's just it's
bar
A1.
none.
It's A1. You know, I think Microsoft, for whatever reason, they took their foot off their marketing because, you know, they used to be top-notch marketing. I mean, doing NFL games and all that trash. They used to be all on it. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it as much as I used to.
That's because Sony hired the same marketing company that Microsoft used last year.
That's probably what it is.
You know what?
Microsoft needs to get a better marketing company because there's not only one out there. But I'm also talking about like just game development. What's the key difference between the two?
What's the key difference between the two? Well, one got studios right now, and the other one don't right now. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm tired. This is 1 a.m. But
okay,
I just think it's the difference is, you know, Sony does a lot to, you know, they know they gamers, they get their gamers, and they put out things that's catering to their fan base. They know their fan base love that single player experience, and they're going to put that out there. Microsoft, you know, I don't know right now, you know what I'm saying, because they got rid of everything.
And that's why I want MM2K to jump in there because he knows what you mean.
Well, yeah. I had, I think what Nethos is referring to is that our homeboy, David Jaffe, right? Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not too long ago, David had, I had made a comment about Mike Ybarra praising God of War and you know, Microsoft, you know, doing a tent hut. Let's praise them across the street. And I said, Ybarra, this ain't a good look. I just basically said Ybarra ain't a good look. And Ybarra was going to ignore me like he always does. But David Jaffe, he's the original maker of God of War, something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he hopped on and he tried to defend Mike, and I had to hit him with the Unity ring on. You know what I'm saying? And so he went away. But David Jaffe came back and he released a video not too long ago where he said he's looking at Spider-Man and he said, look, all this is coming to fruition because of the management style of Sony. Yeah. That he said one thing that he said, this is not a farce when you guys hear this stuff. Sony's not paying people to say this. That you get development freedom at Sony. They know what to do. They know how much to press and how much to lean away to let you create good material.
Right.
And he said, instead of Microsoft buying 5 new studios, Microsoft needs to buy some new managers. That's basically what he said. Now, this is the guy that just was damage controlling for Microsoft not too long ago. And he made a very bold statement, and I had to give him kudos. Like, yeah, because if you read Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, the management style of these video game companies and developers plays a big part on the success. You know what I mean?
And that's why I've been thinking about all the studios that they're buying with a bad management still. Isn't that's going to even be more for them? Because it's like you can't really manage what you have, and you're adding like 5 more to that.
Yeah.
So like, I think the panel starts on it. Everybody's thoughts on that before we roll.
Yo.
706. What's going on, fool?
What's up, bro? What's up, man?
No, he gets like 4 sentences and we're out.
Hey, y'all got the late night stream, bro. I seen you stream. I said, let me go hop in one time.
This is a Joe Bob Briggs stream, man. We late night, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. I just got man's whooped in 2K. I'm pissed.
And I also wanted to touch up on a little bit of the marketing. Like I think Microsoft needs to go after some of these streamers, man. Honestly, because that's I'm telling you, the streamers has a lot of following. If you could, pay them a little money. Listen, start using Xbox to stream your game. I am pretty sure all the people that are like diehard, like fan of these people, they're gonna go and buy Xbox. Sony, that
ain't the answer, Sway.
Yeah, it's working for Sony. It's working.
They're
for
already
Sony.
doing that. Microsoft is already paying.
I mean, Sony been
That's
doing
their
it,
problem.
man.
They're putting the money there than they do in other places in terms of marketing.
Simple business, bro. When you want a Whopper, where do you go?
Hey, look. Microsoft also isn't worried about that because now that Mixer is supposed to be platform agnostic, meaning they love everybody. They're giving away PlayStation 4 Pro 1 terabytes with a copy of God of War. That's why I had to jump on Mike Ybarro's neck in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So
let me make a point. Moss, real quick.
Yes, sir.
So when you want a Whopper, where do you go?
Go to Burger King.
Can you go to McDonald's to get a Whopper?
Hell no.
If you want to play Spider-Man, what system do you have to buy?
You got to go to PlayStation, or you can go to Neithel's house. Yeah, like he made the goddamn game, but go ahead.
Simple.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So
there's too many options.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to Xbox, there's too many. There's options not to purchase the console.
And Microsoft doesn't mind that, Noah. I think a problem with them not minding that is that they're going to lose out on that third party revenue, because if you can get your third party games elsewhere if you're not getting it from Xbox. Like if you're on an Android device, you can get it from Google Play. If you're on the PC, you can get it from Steam. I don't know why people don't think it's a big problem, but what is your thought? Is that the big problem, or is there bigger problems with this?
That's it, man. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's a big play anywhere question, but God damn, it's like 1 a.m, so I think we should wrap this up.
I'm sitting here just my man's came in here.
I can tell you can just pass me
out. Came in here and juice, boy. You're like, hey, let me get this here.
Nigga Z went to bed. He like, fuck this shit.
I came in here and Z bounced, bro. That was crazy.
He made him leave. So showstopper.
Sleep that nigga watching UFO movies.
That boy still watching that old series, The Twilight Zone.
So showstopper. The purpose of this show is to talk about Xbox, like I said, good or bad, and then Neithles and I want to do one-on-one with different people in the community, and our hopes is to get this out to Redman so they can get a full depth look at everybody within the community. You know what I'm saying? So do you coming back, bro? You coming back for one of these episodes, man?
Yeah, I'll come back for one.
Okay. They don't listen to the hardcore, man.
1 in the morning.
Listen to the casuals.
Yeah, I don't know about this 1 in the morning stuff.
Yeah, we ain't gonna. No, the discussion got so deep, and everybody didn't expect you to. Everybody ain't expecting you to survive my Tim Russert showstopper. You survived my Tim Russert, so everybody stayed up for that.
My man Z went and got his black and white TV and said, "I'm watching Twilight Zone. I'm out."
Hey, yo, Butter, man. Woo! Butter done got ordained 1 o'clock in the morning. What's going on, Butter? We gonna get you for an episode 2, bro?
Facts. I mean, yeah, I'd definitely be on that. I mean, every time we hear niggas can't stay on one topic. That ass though.
Hey, it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Poster. I thought you was giving me the shirt, the I Love Phil shirt, but you had another one in the closet. You coming back for one, bro?
Yeah, you got it, bro.
Okay.
I always support the fam.
And check out my man. He's streaming that Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Post up, you got your pony pickups, bro.
Hey, I heard Post up got it on easy. Can't get past Kingpin.
No, I'm about to say Post up is worse than Crap Gamer at that fucking game.
Let me tell you something. Don't believe what Neff.
No, he died 4 times at the first Wilson Fisk construction site.
You gotta play the game for him. Man. Do the share play so you can take over.
You can play that shit's too easy. I
haven't played a PlayStation in over 10 plus years,
Hey, when they say triangle,
And he
post up, gotta
expect
look
me
at
to
the
pick up that controller, know the buttons, get used to the analog, and do all that shit. And the first time playing, he better go sit his ass down somewhere.
Post up though, but the button layout is the same on the Xbox.
I know, right?
No.
Post up is
analog sticks.
Hey, you know, post up don't know his shape.
L3, R3, and get used to them analog sticks.
How you don't know how to play? Phil does know how to play on PlayStation, man.
Oh, shoot.
Bro, I was whooping ass in that Spider-Man. That guy past the first boss.
That nigga Phil
You had just came into the stream.
No, you know the first Wilson construction site? He died like 6 times there.
Damn, bro. That's
Hey, them keep killing post up, man.
That's because I was trying to street fight it.
Vince is killing him, bro.
Post up like I'm trying to do the Mortal Kombat kills here.
I was trying to street fight the motherfucking combo.
Vince is killing him, bro. He wait till the circle get all the way down and be like, I missed it.
You know those enemies with like the staffs and shit? Post up doesn't even know how to fight those enemies. He just runs away.
He see that big old triangle come up like, what am I supposed to do? Get it.
I seen on the stream.
It's my first time playing the game. Was I supposed to know that prior to playing it?
Hey, bro, I expect you to be at least better than the crap gamer. Come on.
I'm pretty sure I did way better than crap, nigga.
I'm still mad. This nigga crap put God of War in
I played What's-the-name didn't get a hit on me.
Oh, man. I don't play nothing on easy, man. I'm sorry. I don't play nothing on easy. I put it normal first, and then I go up harder if I get
I'm not playing on easy.
To that trash.
It ain't on easy.
Also looking for microtransactions to beat the game.
Hey, you want to soup up right now? Like, yeah, I want to soup up right now, man. I can't wait.
Post say, I'll pay $20 to beat Kingpin. What?
Man, I beat the shit out of Kingpin.
Hey, I bought the highest level suit and beat him, bro.
706, bro. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you.
Go look at the stream. It's up.
All right, everybody. It is almost 1:00. I appreciate everybody for coming on, man. And we're still strong, man. This is like unbelievable. Hey, yo, stay up with the channel, stay up with the show. We're gonna be doing this. Also, you're gonna want to join our Patreon, man. Join the BGST Patreon through Next Gen 720. You know what I'm saying? We'll provide you with the link. Do all that good stuff. Hey, and yo, as always, you have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. We are out.